Hello. We are live. Okay, I think everything's good. I think the microphone's working. Chat's on screen. Welcome. Saturday stream, last of the week. I think this has been a pretty good week so far. Well, I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I've had a good week. How's everybody doing? Somebody said I'm so scared and might even tune out of the stream because of how much I dread the discussion regarding this topic. Yeah, so if you're a little bit confused, like if you were in my last stream and you feel like I already talked about this and why is it the title of this one, I think I spent a grand total of 5 minutes discussing this the last time I was live. Usually I spend 60 to 120 minutes discussing most of my topics, but I cut that one short last time because it has a lot of intersecting aspects to it. It has a lot of moving parts, and you want to make sure that you're not being like dismissive of any really important topics. So I sat with that one a little longer because I felt like that was important to do, and to make sure that I was going to wind up coming across well, because I didn't want to talk about it and then play back the footage and be like, oh, I didn't do a good job here. So yeah, I hope you don't guys don't feel like I'm like fixating on this. I barely mentioned it last time. I didn't have it like any research or an outline, but now I kind of went into it. And I, to that one person who said they're dreading the discussion, I do obviously agree that it's like, well, it's involving like hate symbols, so it is automatically just a lot of there's just a lot going on for sure. But I will say I don't think it's going to be a problem here. I don't really anticipate this turning into any sort of like argument or whatever. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3, testing 1 2 3. Is this better? Does this sound bad? Sorry if you had it up really low and then or really loud and you turned it up and then I spoke just now and blew your ears out. I hope that didn't happen. Let me know. I saw your messages just now that my audio I came in a little low. Someone said it's better. It's perfect. Okay, good. Does it still sound like fine quality wise? Okay, yay! Thank you guys. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the fan on because I can already tell it's gonna get hot in here. So for those who don't know, their audio is a really tricky thing to get right, and especially when you're recording on like a higher quality mic, there's this magical aspect called gain, which is better known as volume. And a lot of really good mics will have high quality audio, but very low gain. So you have to do a bunch of weird things on the back end to try to boost the gain after the initial signal is received. In my case, that would involve routing the audio through what is known as a cloud lifter, which is like a decibel booster. And I was recording something else between this last stream and this one where I didn't want the audio boost because I wanted more control over the sound. And so I had unplugged it from the cloud lifter. So you guys are probably missing like, I don't know, a solid 10 to 13 decibels. My bad. Sorry. But yeah, I fixed it. It's great. Let's go. Reading chat. Someone says, I think the music being loud just made you seem quiet in comparison is all. Yeah, I do think too, like if I had just come on the way I was, like no one would have noticed. But yeah, I definitely want to have a more unified unified audio experience here on the D'Angelo stream to the best of my ability. So thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. Someone said that his voice get deeper. I definitely do not feel that my voice has gotten deeper. Maybe I'm EP or something. Maybe I'm tired, but I don't think it's gotten deeper. Well, I think the thing is like, I just have a lot of range, honestly. I think. I mean, then again, sometimes my audio will like glitch to where it's picking my voice up wrong, and then it can sound deeper. But no, I think we're good though. I think we're actually good. So I don't think Danzo's voice got deeper. I definitely don't. Like, I would hope that at the big old age of 27 going on 28, I'm past any big vocal changes I think have already taken place for me. This is about as low as we're gonna get, honestly. Someone said, D'Angelo, do you plan to talk about the Ariana Grande tour discourse? I have to be quite honest with you. I'm not exactly sure what discourse that is. Obviously, I know there's a lot going on with the breakup that people talked about. She's releasing an album called Petals. She's put out a single from that one already. I know that she's on tour. I've seen a video of her like ascending into the heavens, but yeah, maybe if that crosses my desk with more details, I can see what you mean. Reading chat. Someone said, first time catching you live. If this is your first time catching you live, if this is your first time catching me live, let me give you a bit of a rundown of what's going on here. The first 30 minutes or so is exactly what you're getting now, which is a Yap session. And then about 30 minutes in, we're going to get into the topic of the day, which in this case, we'll be discussing Hudson Williams of Heated Rivalry fame, a awful racist picture of him that has resurfaced. And what do you do when there's a racist picture of someone who did not do the thing in the picture? Someone drew a racist hate symbol on him. It's very, like, there's a lot of intersecting culture about what that means, what your responsibility is when things like this happen, if any, like who should be saying what, other actors or another actor chiming in with like his opinion and other people saying there's a lot, as you can imagine. Someone said, I don't think he wants to talk about Ariana's weight. Yeah, chat, you're literally never going to get a video from me about anybody's body. It's never happening. First of all, I think that's completely irrelevant info to me as far as it pertains to any of my any of the controversies I talk about. Like, I don't know, if somebody is creating, I've talked about this before, I bring this up a lot. If somebody is creating a bunch of discourse and it's about the way that they look, I don't care. It doesn't matter at all. It never, ever helps to discuss the individual bodies of people. Even, hold on, because this is one that I don't think some of y'all are ready for. Even if you're trying to have important conversations about industry-wide body trends. That's my opinion. I want to say this again, just so we're really clear. It zero times, it never once, not even once, is ever a good or helpful thing to single out any celebrity and start having a massive commentary on their, or if we're being honest, her body. It's always bad. Even if you are trying to do important things, like talk about, yes, we can still totally acknowledge what is happening in Hollywood right now, this return to thinness that is very odd and like detrimental, obviously, to health across a massive scale. But yeah, I really, it's always the wrong answer, I think, to have these conversations through the lens of individuals. It scares me a lot, and I really wish we would stop doing it, no matter who looks like what. So my stance on that will never change. I know in the past, like maybe years and years ago, I talked about people were being super weird about like Lizzo and Billie Eilish back then. And I talked years ago about how like you can't do anything right on the internet. People are going to wind up discussing you, even though your body's not relevant to the things you're actually putting out into the world. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like if I was having not me, because I'm not equipped to do this, but if I was having a broader discussion that wasn't just about Ariana Grande, I wouldn't be like concerned or like put off by that. I think it's good that people are recognizing what is happening in the entertainment industry, because we can't just like be uncritical of the things that we're seeing. But like, I have simply just seen too many really scary, freaky comment sections that are solely about like dogging on one person's looks. And I'm like, chat, at the end of the day, if it's something that somebody can't fix in like 5 minutes, it's kind of wild to just devote this much energy to criticizing. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. As you can see, I probably have a wrong opinion about this, by the way. I'm probably wrong and bad in my take on this. I just don't know what the right answer is. I also am too close. I'm too close to the material, because like there's been discussion about me as well online well-meaning, which is fine. Some of that I myself have, I guess, cultivated, or it's my own fault. I maybe never should have just acknowledged it or anything like that. But like when my body changed very visibly in my videos, it wasn't really helpful when it was pointed out for me ever. It's not even helpful now thinking back about that. It didn't make it any easier for me to get towards somewhere that I would say is like a healthy or even normal body image at all. It's very hard to have a normal conception of your physical self when you were like constantly on camera in comment sections where people can say anything about you, even if those things are nice. So yeah, womp womp. That's all I have to say about that one, chat. Someone says, when you're into the public eye like this, don't you kind of open yourself up to this type of discourse? No. That's my opinion. When I was like 70 pounds heavier in my videos, and then I lost it for whatever reason, or regained it, or whatever I did, which doesn't really matter, I absolutely did not invite or give anybody the right to discuss my body in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It's not something that anyone is really within their rights to do. So that's my answer. Maybe my answer is very like tainted by me sort of having a public figure, if you will. But no, that's just that's just how I feel. The answer is no. You don't invite scrutiny on your body by being a public figure. That's just me though. So as you see, I'm not like disconnected enough to talk about this because I'm probably going to come into it like personally, and then it's going to be a bad video. Also, I don't want to talk about this. I don't really care. Anyways, that's all. I'm done. This has been enough discussion. Somebody in chat asked me, what is this title? Okay, dog, I know the title is kind of wild, but it's because last stream I had brought this up and said I wasn't going to talk about it, and so I wanted people to see I'm aware that I have backtracked. Don't worry. Some of the people on camera are allowed to have boundaries. Definitely that. Also, if you see me sitting with my arm in a really weird position, it's because I got my elbow ditch tattooed, and that joint hurts really bad. It hurts. This is a terrible... You can't tell that this is my elbow because my clothing is so dark. This is a terrible, terrible spot to have a needle, or not a needle, a bunch of needles in a tattoo machine just chipping away at you. They hurt so bad, but I think it's not even the hurt of the experience itself, but trying to heal this, I can already tell, is going to be horrific. It's been bad, and it's currently bad. So yeah, if you see like, does his arm work anymore? Yes, it does. I am just probably in some form of discomfort. Oh my god. Someone says the elbow ditch is the worst. It's literally so bad. It's so bad. I can't believe this. Someone said it hurts so good. I'm glad it was good for you. It hurt very bad in my case. Nasty, dog. Someone said elbow ditch is a new term to me. Elbow ditch is something that I frequently hear tattoo people say, but I've never heard anyone else refer to the inner elbow as such. I think like usually if you tell someone you want a tattoo here, no one would say, oh, your inner elbow. We just call it the ditch. You also have a knee ditch, which would be the back of your knee, which is probably an even worse place to get tattooed. But yeah, that's tattoo terminology. Someone said when I tattooed that spot, it was horrible. I bet it was. I believe you. Someone said get your head tattooed next. Would not do it next, but would absolutely 100% tattoo my head next for sure. Reading chat. Someone said, would you mind showing it at some point? I mean, I can show it now. I mean, hold on, wait. Let me look at this joint because it might be kind of gnarly. Okay, hold on. No, it's fine. It has a little bit of ink on it because it's still like weeping or whatever. But look, I think it's really cute. Hold on. Sorry, I am so bad at showing these off live. But to the person who asked, yes, I'm totally down to show it off. It's like a little flying eyeball type situation. I don't know, dog, because at this point, when you were getting a tattoo in the middle of your elbow just to fill space, like, does it even really matter what goes there? No. So I saw this one and I was like, mess me up, fam. Just rock it all the way. Let's go. People are saying it looks cool. Thank you. I thought it was a very cool one. Someone said that didn't hurt, did it? No, yeah, it felt so pleasing and relaxing. I kept thinking I was at a spa. Oh man, so painful. Someone said it fits the sleeve so perfect. Thank you. And now I'm almost done. That's the thing. I want to be finished with this sleeve because I'm tired of it. There's been so much needles, so much ink, so much time spent, and yet I still have this area right here, which I'm so mad about. I just want to be finished so I can never ever have to think about this arm ever again. But we're getting there someday. We'll be fine. Oh my god. Someone said Terry Pratchett vibes. Dude, I'm such a sucker for like just like creature type tatties. Don't ask me why. It makes me happy. Like if I die and then they find me in 1,000 years, 2,000 years, and they're like, was he some sort of like, I don't know, mythical beast compendium? Like, what was the purpose of the skin? That would make me happy. Someone said, do you not keep the plastic wrap bandages on? Me? No, I don't use Sanoderm because I have horrific allergic reactions to it, the adhesive. So, no. Yikes. Oh, no. Sanoderm is great, though. And if it works for you, you should use it. It's called Second Skin. It comes in a couple different brands. It makes healing everything so much easier. But yeah, no, I just heal the old-fashioned way. Someone said, I really like that your tattoos are black. You'll ever appreciate it's not having poison for other colors. I don't know about the safety or efficacy of other tattoo colors. I feel like they're mostly fine. I also don't feel like it's probably a 100% safe thing, all the ink that's in my skin. But I will say this. I will never get color because I'm terrified of being allergic to it. I've mentioned this on stream and I'll bring it up anytime. If you are planning on getting color in your tattoos, you need to know that there are certain colors. This might be misinformation, but we have to go off of a lot of anecdotes in this industry. We don't really have scientists rushing out to help us. Many more people can be allergic to certain colors than I have seen just being allergic to black ink in general. So someone said, if the rainbow on my skin takes me out, that's how I go. Well, to be fair, that fits your whole aesthetic. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. I also feel the same way where I'm like, we do know largely that tattooing is safe because it's been done forever. But also, would it be better to not routinely have these foreign substances inserted beneath the outer layers of my skin, inducing healing processes in which I am open to infection 40 times? Yeah, probably I'd be, but it's okay. You got to do what you got to do. Someone said red tattoos, people have terrible reactions to. Yeah, dude, it's literally something about red. It's something about red. That is the one I've seen the most people say they have the craziest reactions to. And the reason I got terrified about it, because I was like, well, I don't know, if I have like a reaction upon getting the tattoo, it doesn't really matter. You can have these reactions for literal years. Like, we're talking 10 years on and your tattoo will get raised and have some sort of response. And I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Some say if you're allergic to anything red, most colors and tattooing can be tricky. Yeah. But anyways, do not take this as me knocking color tattoos. That's literally not the point whatsoever. I'm only talking about me being a scaredy cat baby who is afraid and therefore sticks with safe baby colors like black and only black. Oh my God. Someone said, let me write that down. Yeah, just look it up. If itching, because that's the other thing too. I can't deal with itching. I know everybody hates itching. Obviously, nobody wants to feel itchy or have the urge to scratch their skin. But sorry to sound cringe or whatever, I have this weird sensory issue with itching where it just really makes me want to rip my skin off in its entirety, even just a little bit. And also, it's pretty bad because sometimes I can just randomly get itchy as a response to sudden stress, or trypophobia, or other things like that. Even now, I'm having to really curb my train of thought to not just get itchy by thinking about how uncomfortable being itchy is. So Whereas it sucks for everybody, me knowing that I'm somebody who I just feel like it super sucks for. This wording's getting a little bit weird. That's why I have opted out of potential allergies. Sorry, I'm just thinking about being itchy. It's the worst feeling ever. Someone said I've hurt myself because of it. Yeah, dude, same. I don't know why I have such a visceral, intense response to itchiness. And if that's you, be careful. If that's not you, get all the rainbow. I want to see the most colorful tattoos of all time because I live vicariously through you. I really do. Someone said feeling itchy as a stress response is so real. Someone said I'm itchy now. No, sorry, I wasn't trying to make anybody itchy with this conversation. Someone said we're under 30 minutes in. Yeah, we've only been here 25 minutes. I mean, I know I showed up late, so it seems like I've probably been live for longer, but that's not the case, I swear. Someone said, I once crashed a bike into a nettle bush. Oof, but I got lucky it wasn't the tarmac. Yeah, I'm glad you were safe. Jeez. Someone said, I've been taking allergy therapy shots for 3 months. You'd be miserable, so itchy every week. I would be miserable, yes. You understand. Oh, no. No. Reading chat. I see somebody talking about the topic before we get there. Keep all of your thoughts for the topic in mind. This is one of, actually, I can give a disclaimer. This is one of those conversations where I think everyone has strong feelings and I think we should normalize strong feelings on the internet. And when we're dealing with a picture in which somebody's depicted with a hate symbol on their forehead, you should have a strong reaction to this. I will say the vast majority of the people discussing this, I don't feel like are doing so maliciously, even though some of them seem to be disagreeing with each other. So I am definitely navigating that as we discuss this, but like, I don't know. There's obviously some malicious stuff going on here, as you're going to see, but it's just a lot of moving pieces. Someone said, how old was he in it? It was from 2018, is what people are saying. So what, like 17 or something? 18? I don't know. I think in school is the answer. High school, not college. And also, he didn't draw that picture. Well, look, we're not there yet. We're still only 27 minutes in. But give me some time, bro. Give me some time. So wasn't he in high school? He very much was. Someone says, I again don't know who this famous child is, and I need that explained first. You are literally, I do this for you. Every single topic, no matter how popping the person I'm discussing may be in certain contexts, I will always explain exactly who they are with pictures and a link to their most popular work, because people really underestimate the prevalence of bubbles. Yes, heated rivalry is a very popular thing, but not a lot of people, or not everybody who is familiar with heated rivalry would be able to name the actors by name. Simultaneously, not everybody has even heard of this show. I know that might sound very unbelievable to you, but it is true. I could definitely pull someone off the street and be like, hey, you know that gay hockey show that really popped off based off of the romance series? And they'd be like, the what? So I always will explain. Don't worry, don't sweat it. Probably the only people at this point that I'm not going to explain who they are would literally be like Taylor Swift, Beyonce, and I don't know. You have to be very popular for me to not give a little 2-minute explanation. Someone said the black-haired one. Yes, he has the black hair for sure. See, people in chat are saying they haven't heard of it. These people are not lying. We haven't heard of everything. I know for sure, even as like online as I try to be, there are still things happening that are really popular, and I have no idea what anybody's talking about. Like, have y'all heard of Off Campus? Does anybody know what that is? I swear to God, I keep seeing people discuss this joint. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Not negatively. I'm not mad about it, but I'm like, I guess it's another hockey show. I keep seeing people say, like, this is such a popular thing, and I believe them. I also just know so very little about it simultaneously. So that's me. Maybe I think what I need to start doing, honestly, someone said one of my friends is obsessed with that show. What I need to start doing is watching things during some of my long runs. Like yesterday, I went for a 2-hour run. It was really terrible. And I was on a treadmill because it's getting really hot out here. And I could have spent that time. I could have watched Off Campus. Maybe not. If it has weird stuff in it, I don't really want to be like there's some things you shouldn't watch in public. But I should just like get more used to clicking into things that people say so I can know more things. Someone said there's a whole other world out there. There's a whole other world out there. You could I always think of it in terms of zooming in or out. Like I do this a lot in my streams where I will sometimes zoom in and start getting more and more granular about the things I'm discussing, more specific and niche, and then it can get fun. You may notice sometimes the chat gets more active the less people know what I'm talking about, because the people who do start popping off. Like if I started talking about the new Xenoblade game, right? Xenoblade Genesis, you might get a lot of people in chat who are really excited to talk to me about that, but then 95% of everybody is like, what's a Xenoblade? So once I feel that energy, I'm really good at this, frankly. I will always zoom back out and be like, okay, that's enough Xenoblade talk. Now let's talk about, I don't know, Ed Sheeran. Something we're all familiar with. Yay. Someone says Summer House also has so much content, like it'll be set for a while. Well, let me finish Love Island first. Hey, I didn't mention Love Island for the first 31 minutes of the stream. That's character growth. Someone said, is this a joke? There's no way he's a Nazi. I'm not implying that he's a Nazi at all. It's just someone drew a Nazi swastika on his face. Don't worry. I think if you coming into this strong, please just allow me to talk about this. I definitely don't do that thing where I try to like clickbait people into thinking I'm gonna like say these things, but it's an photo of him with Nazi insignia drawn on his face. So that's the Hudson Williams Nazi photo in question. All right. Anyways, that's all I've got. Someone said I would die for Xenoblade Genesis talk. Dog, same. Same. Someone said, or veganism. Oh, we don't mention veganism on the stream. I mean, you can if you want. But anyways, I think someone said the caption had me misled. Sorry. I probably could have done better, I guess. Can I make an excuse? I'm gonna make an excuse right now. And you can take this as it is, but I'm telling you, it's literally just that. All of my YouTube titles, all of them, you can check this. There may be one or two odd ones out. They're all within 60 characters. All of them. It's because I'm superstitious. And I believe personally, this isn't true. Please do not quote me as saying this just because I have a few followers. I feel like when a YouTube title gets longer than 60 characters, it is more prone to getting cut off, first of all, by YouTube's interface, and also it's not doing as good of a job as conveying the info. So every single topic I want to discuss, no matter how wide-ranging it is or how many moving pieces, I run through this wordcounttools.com website where I start talking about, let's say I want to make a title about Olivia Rodrigo's new album. Olivia Rodrigo's new album. Look at the problem. I've instantly used almost half of my available characters. So let's say I'm trying to say something more specific. People are really loving Olivia Rodrigo's new album. A video that I would never make because that's duh. That's like saying sliced bread continues to be popular. Wait, that sounds like I'm shading her. My point is she's popular, and this isn't a good example, but you see what I'm saying. Already this is putting me at 51 characters. Now, if I want to introduce a third party, but I am already pretty much probably going to run out of space. So every single thing I discuss, whether it's like crazy racism controversies or like multi-level, multi-month rabbit holes, I always have to try to figure out how to like condense the info. And then if I ever want to editorialize like I did today, and I said, what is the name of the stream? I don't remember. I said, okay, I will talk about, or I said, you know what? I will talk about this because I have to also let people know who are coming in from the last stream that it's not a rehash of things I've already seen. So yeah, I don't always get that portion of it right, but I swear to God, I do want to clickbait people, but not in a misleading way. Anyways, that's all I've got, chat. That's all I've got. Someone said I love seeing behind the scenes info. Do you? I feel like it's so boring. I believe you, and I'm glad you like it. But yeah, no, it's I mean, like YouTube encourages you to be the worst person all the time. And that sucks. I would get a lot of mileage, honestly, if I did just bait everyone into thinking that I have the wrong opinion about this guy, and then make a video where I don't. And then everybody's like, maybe, I don't know, agreeing or whatever. But then they're like, what was with this title? Which is happening a couple times in chat, which I'm sorry for. The reason it feels rare is because I try not to do this. But like, I just try not to be the worst person regardless because it's stupid. It's not a good play for longevity. It's better if people believe you. Anyways, everybody say hi to YouTube. Please, I'm gonna drink some water. I'm hitting start record. Someone said all social media encourages that. Well, yeah, it's just a bad medium for complex discourse. And yet I've turned this into my entire job. Not that my discourse is particularly complex. All right. Well, there has been a microcosm of heated rivalry star related controversies, the majority of which I have ignored so far because there's a lot going on, as you're going to see. But I think this recent one is the largest one to breach containment. The Hudson Williams swastika photo controversy, in which one of the two main leads, a picture resurfaced in which somebody had seemingly drawn a hate symbol on him at a party. Now, this has launched a bunch of discussions about why were we drawing hate symbols on people of color at parties? How much responsibility does one have when a photo like this surfaces? Is this all part of us trying to excuse bad behavior, etc.? And at this point, you have another actor getting involved, BuzzFeed getting criticized for playing into this, Hudson's sources close to him responding, but nothing much for him maybe or maybe not getting dropped from a Peloton campaign. So I would like to get into all of this, no matter how complex this does or does not get. I feel like we can get to the bottom of it. All right, that's all we've got. That's the intro. I think that's fine. All right, so before when I first introduced this topic, somebody was like, I don't know who this is, this famous baby. And I'm like, don't worry, for all the people in that boat, Hudson Williams is a Canadian actor who was in one of the most talked about shows that I've seen in recent times, Heated Rivalry. If you've heard reference to the gay hockey show, it would be this one, in which Hudson plays opposite Connor's Story, I believe. My God, please don't let me mess up something as simple as that and shoot my credibility 2 minutes into the video. And because of this show's massive success, it's led to a lot of opportunities and a lot of visibility. Someone says the Peloton campaign was bad timing. Yeah, I definitely agree. We're going to talk about the timing of it all. So now you're seeing Hudson everywhere, from the Met Gala to showing up in advertisements, brand deals, etc. here as the face of Peloton, which is a pretty big gig. Peloton's going to come back up later, by the way. It's a whole mess. Someone said you got the names right. Okay, good. We're on the right track. I feel happy about that. Images. But all this to say, if you are here for like a Hudson Williams deep dive, just know I'm not falling for that one. He's a very polarizing figure. And the reasons why are because whereas I think there's always things to criticize about everyone, there is a large, and frankly, it would just be silly to ignore this group of amount of people who absolutely just hate this dude for various reasons, whether that's them being racist against him or other reasons. It's not only him, by the way. I see cast members in the show get hated on because people are being homophobic. I'm literally talking about from people within the fan base. It is very bizarre. I would definitely like to draw a distinction between, like, this isn't all Heated Rivalry fans. However, a vocal minority of them is speedrunning becoming one of those fan bases, and they've made fine work out of it. I'm very put off by a lot of the way a lot of this is being talked about. Someone said Hudson Williams shallow dive. Yeah, this is a shallow dive into Hudson Williams. I mostly just want to give you enough info to get to the picture as it exists. again, just for more context of like where this show is right now, Heated Rivalry tops Canadian Screen Awards with 16 wins, which is crazy. So even if this one flew under your radar, it definitely captured people's imagination. Reading chat. Someone said there's an insane amount of people who fetishize queer men via this show, but seemingly hate queer men too. We could throw that in the video. I think the Heated Rivalry microcosm is a great example of how just because you are ostensibly supporting queer media, that doesn't actually make you any sort of ally at all, actually. And not like, I won't say oftentimes, but sometimes you will find equal, if not surprisingly stronger amounts of homophobia in spaces like this. And it's just, I want to call it baffling, but would you believe me if I said I wasn't exactly surprised either? It's very common. So, but yeah, if you're like a Heated Rivalry fan watching this, I'm just going to assume you're doing so in a normal way. Someone said almost all fandoms are anti-black. Okay. Here's one I'm not going to put in the video because then my comment section is going to turn into a mess, but we can talk about this live. Yes. Almost all fandoms are anti-black. I mean, I think almost all fandoms are, and you can insert whatever thing you want there because fandoms are just collections of people. But I'm speaking from personal experience. This is a tangent. I know this from watching anime. I know this from following like a bunch of different communities. Y'all will always figure out some kind of anti-black position to take within a fan base, and it will be a popular take. It really pisses me off. Whether that's me like trying to get tattoos and there's a bunch of anti-black misinformation about who should be getting what styles or who has good tattoos. Whether that's me trying to watch anime. Here, I'll give you an example. Who here has seen people literally saying that characters that are obviously black in anime are not even black? Dog, they don't want us here at all. They being these weirdo anime fans, they will literally like highlight obviously and intentionally black characters in anime, and they'll be like, well, they're probably not black for these reasons. It's like, we literally can't have anything. People in chat are saying anti-woman too. That too, yeah. Well, anime is a hotbed for that. So yeah, no, dog. That joint pisses me off a lot. And in many ways, fandom is not safe. It's really not. Someone said Gachiakuta fans trying to erase black characters. Literally, that is what they were doing. Nobody can call me crazy over that one. I watched y'all take these black characters and be like, they're not black. And I'm like, huh? What? Anyways. Someone said not to mention the lesbophobia from some of the women who watch the show. Yeah, no. All this to say, it's rough out here trying to be a fan of something. What you are literally consuming it because you are like, these are like-minded people who are here to share positivity over something I like. And then it's like, open the box, misogyny. Insert whatever is happening. Yeah, no, that... Anyways, I'll cap it right there. Getting back to the topic. But among, the ads and the red carpet appearances, the paparazzi photos, one photo resurfaced recently that is bringing up a darker conversation. And that would be this photo of Hudson Williams with a swastika, a Nazi swastika, very prominently drawn on his forehead in seemingly Sharpie. This was posted with no context. The one I see that keeps getting shown is like Hudson Williams stuns in newly shared photo. Whoever shared this, there's a lot going on here. Let's move one step at a time. I think that's the best way to have this discussion. Immediately, I would like to say, there's no context in which this is a good or okay photo that should be ignored. This is a hate symbol, and I don't think any discussion of this that minimizes the disgusting nature of the swastika is a good one. So I think that this is worth talking about, and I'm glad at least that people are discussing it. Reading chat. Someone said, why are the blondes blurred? That's sus. Yeah, everybody seemingly has been blurred. But actually, to answer your question, it's because these photos are being pulled not from Hudson Williams' account. And I think that this is literally the biggest bit of context that you should know, he didn't post these. There is absolutely no proof of him ever sharing this photo. It was found, from what I've read, even though this is hard to discuss because, believe it or not, there's a level of internet nosiness beyond what I can stomach, by going to his close friends from childhood and finding their Visco, which is a photo editing account, profiles, and then acquiring this photo was how this one was surfaced. And this was taken of him while he was in high school, which I believe people were saying was in 2018, meaning he would have been 17. Let's get that part right, because messing up numbers is stupid. Yeah, would have been 17 throughout most of 2018 if we're just going off of when he was born. Also, do you sometimes see people who are younger than you and you are surprised to learn that they're younger than you? This is another tangent, but seeing that Hudson Williams was born after 2000, I'm just like, dog, I am so decrepit. I am so old. And for what? What did I do to anybody to be the oldest man living? But that's okay. I'm literally a mere 2 to 3 years older than him. It just makes me feel old for some reason. Someone said he's my age. I need to stop getting surprised by celebrities' ages, honestly. Someone said Hudson is older than me. Yeah. Someone said you're not that much older. I'm literally not that much older. I don't know why, though, as somebody born in 1998, I feel so much older than people who were born after 2000. That's logically a fallacy, but I can't help myself. I really, really can't. Someone said wait till you're in your 50s. It gets really weird. I will say I'll take your word for it, but I'm going to find out one way or another. Okay. So pulling like a Reddit reaction, which is obviously a horrible place, but just one example of this. People, initially this was surfaced without any sort of context, and so people were reacting, in my opinion, appropriately. Given how easy it is to go your entire life without wearing a swastika or saying the N-word, it's stunning how many celebrities not only do so, but get filmed doing it. This person just posting a meme that says the best part of waking up is screaming, "What the F," etc. Yes, it's a shocking picture, but I think Hudson's team, seemingly, or whoever answered this for him, was pretty swift in issuing a response to TMZ. So, and this is a part where I feel it begins to get complex. Heated rivalry star Hudson Williams unaware at time swastika was drawn on face as resurfaced photos emerge. Make this a little bit bigger so we can see what we're actually looking at here. Sources close to the heated rivalry star tell TMZ the image dates back to his high school years, which this is true, in a small Canadian town where teens participate in an annual campout tradition that often involves underage drinking, partying, and covering one another's shirts, faces, and bodies with Sharpie drawings. We're told Hudson had no idea what was being drawn on his face at the time, and the offensive symbol was the result of other intoxicated teens scribbling inappropriate images on one another in an attempt to get laughs and shock reactions. A friend of Hudson tells TMZ the markings do not and have never reflected Hudson's beliefs, values, or character. Sources close to Hudson describe the incident as a group of underage kids doing, quote, dumb things while under the influence, adding that the behavior was completely inexcusable. We're told Hudson is keenly aware of that today. Those close to the actor say he understands the hurt and disappointment the photo has caused and deeply regrets it. We're told he does not condone or support the offensive markings that were drawn on him and recognizes the seriousness of the symbol seen in the image. And then they throw in this little chat GPT banger. The Sharpie has long since washed off, but the controversy is proving much tougher to scrub away. Tell me you just dumped your article into chat GPT and said, oh, find a funny line to throw at the end, as if this is something to joke about. Someone in chat, someone said, I believe he was unaware. Okay, yeah, hold on. Let's move into the next let's pause again because it's good to like just have this discussion one bit at a time. Anyways, I think I'm going to try to stop showing the picture from this point forward if I can manage it. But I want to draw a distinction between normalizing or accepting drawing hate speech, hate symbols on people's faces, and saying it's understandable that he may not have known. I think it's not a common position, but every now and then I have seen people say, well, I guess it kind of makes sense that he might not have known. Get hit with the, well, why are you ignoring the seriousness of this? Hey, it's still a hate symbol, deeply anti-Semitic, deeply anti-Semitic, deeply racist in so many contexts. It's not a good thing that anyone has done. I also believe the context of Hudson Williams being a person of color and the one that somebody chose to draw this hate symbol on, obviously Broski didn't draw it there himself in a mirror. So definitely don't conflate anything I'm saying with me saying, oh, this picture's not that big of a deal, it doesn't matter. It's a pretty bad thing that happened. I just in no way see Hudson as the arbiter of that situation. Reading chat. Someone said people are babying him too much. I haven't gotten there yet, but it is a line in my outline where I do try to discuss this from the other side of because I see the sentiment come up a lot of like, wow, this is a lot of excuses for somebody who has a swastika drawn on their face. But I just think like he didn't post the photo, draw it on his face, or at any point that anyone has found such express being okay with the existence of this photo. So is that babying? I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not coming across wrong or like I'm not jumping to, I'm mostly just trying to be clear about these facts. I think there's just so many times where I pull up a celebrity and they're out here doing like blackface or yes, even Nazi stuff, and they're very clearly playing into this themselves. And I feel like to make excuses for that would be insane. But in this specific context, this just reads as context, not an excuse. And I also personally did not read any of the statements from the sources close to him as an excuse. Reading chat. Someone said, if anything, he's a victim. Yeah, I mean, I have also seen like, give me a second. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find what I'm looking for here. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Was he not hate crimed? I think I run the risk immediately of splitting this conversation into two groups of people, one of which who strongly disagrees with this assertion. The other kind of sees what I'm trying to say here. You're responsible for your image and you're responsible for your own actions, but I believe the act of drawing this hate symbol on somebody, knowing, by the way, that this is like, we're gonna draw this on this person specifically. I really struggle to view that as anything other than a hate crime personally. And that's not even what his he's not defending it. That's not even what he said here. But I think if I was in the situation, I'd be like, dog, I got hate crimed at a party. I didn't think this was funny at all. And this is terrible, actually. I hate that this photo still exists, but that's just my 2 cents. Making sure I'm not like sounding super crazy here. Someone said, are we chatting about Peloton? Just popped in. They're going to come up later. Yeah, don't worry. Okay, a lot of people are seeing where I'm coming from. Reading chat. Someone said apparently the other people who go at the party also had hate symbols drawn on them. Yeah, I can't speak to that because I haven't found these photos, and at this point I wouldn't even know where to do so. Reading chat. Yeah, okay, I'm glad people are seeing where I'm coming from. I would shudder to think about this happening to anybody. It's something that happened to him. Now, kind of moving past this, Whew. Do y'all see, by the way, why I like sat on this one? I sat on this one. Because I just want to make sure that I'm not doing this incorrectly. All right, so the next one I have would be someone mentioned Peloton. And I think they were the next line in my thing. Someone said he should reach out to the person who posted it. Who? Hudson? I feel like disconnecting yourself from these people is the best thing. Reading chat. Someone said also the parasocial of it all. We don't really know Hudson. Yeah, I do also feel like if I was dealing with somebody who this photo surfaced in conjunction with a bunch of other similar things, then I would definitely be like, okay, why are we doing this? What's the goal here? Someone said what age was he, by the way? 17 years old. Someone said finding the balance between the two definite truths of grown men are babied too much and people of color are treated much harsher than white people. I would agree with you for sure. I definitely would agree with you. Anyways, I think I've explained myself well. Whether you agree or disagree is one thing, but I think I made sense here. So the next thing I wanted to talk about would be, as far as like actual backlash beyond people talking about the photo itself, I haven't seen too much like professional stuff, except this one's really like tricky. Peloton, the one he was doing the deal with, trying to pull this one I had from Out Magazine. Right now, you may see this headline: Peloton removes Hudson Williams videos following high school pit controversy, which is true. This did happen objectively. However, Peloton has not issued any sort of statement, and it's also really not clear why these were removed because of that. Here, let's see. Pulling the. I also hate how often Dumois and TMZ is coming up. I have this post right here from Dumois. I want to rant about this. Not rant. I want to mention, I'm so tired of using TMZ and Dumois as sources. I seriously, like, I know the easiest thing to say would be like, well, then stop using them as sources. But when so much of the discourse involves things that are being originated from these sources, it's very hard for me to ignore that. A lot of times I will like, let's try to find something more, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputable, and then they're just still quoting TMZ. any article that I tried to find that was literally about this, that was not coming from TMZ, was quoting TMZ. And in the same case, I'm trying to talk about this Peloton thing without talking about Dumois, but it's just not possible because they are the ones driving this discourse. It's so painful. Someone said, why are they the only ones who always get the info? Or why are they the ones who always get the info? It pisses me off really bad, chat. That's all I know. I hate it. But anyways, they said, after old photos surfaced this week showing Hudson Williams with a swastika and other markings drawn on his face, fans assumed Peloton removed Hudson's April campaign content as a result. A source, this is why I don't like, what does that mean? A source tells Dumois it was just the natural end of the campaign, not tied to photos. And so that's what's up in the air right now. It's possible, honestly, that it was just, they were clearing off space for their next one. Also, I found this little tidbit right here. Of this article right here saying they've done the same thing previously with Beyonce and other stars. So throwing that out there for the Peloton controversy side of it. Someone said, which makes sense. It makes sense. Again, it's kind of like, what do you choose to believe, I suppose. Okay, going back to the Instagram post. Also, you can see, just from this Instagram post, like the comments are very polarized. Bro, this is ridiculous. Stop digging into people's high school and middle school photos looking for cancelable material. I agree that this is not the most productive pastime. I will say though, if there's anybody famous right now who at 17 had photos of them with the swastika on their face, I would like to know the answer or the reason why or the context. So just throwing that out there. But I absolutely do not condone the actions of people who are specifically trying to pull things. I don't know. It's just a mess. Some are deliberately making it look like he committed a crime. I'm not defending anything, but I mean, as you can see, like, people are, I don't know. It's tricky. Someone said he was 15. I didn't see that he was 15. But if he was, I mean, I guess I would still have pretty much the same opinion. Someone said at some point it's a little creepy. Wait, you're saying he was 15 and the kids around him were 17? Is that true? Where do I pull that info from? Hold on, I can go. I'll make a note to go back and double check that. It can be so hard when there's so many conflicting numbers. But yeah, I'll make a note for myself to go back and double check that. The point is, I do think he was a minor and in high school for sure. Someone said at 17, I knew better than to do stuff like that. There's honestly no excuse. I will ask you this. There's no excuse for what? You know, I literally promise you I'm not trying to be obtuse right now. By any means. Not trying to be obtuse. I agree that when you're 17, and I knew better as well not to like use these hate symbols or whatever, but like I don't think that's what has happened here. One could, I guess, just ignore. I don't know. I can't tell you what did or did not happen. Nobody invited me to these parties. I wasn't there when this happened. I can really only go off of the existence of this picture, the lack of any other Nazi anything ever. So I guess I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. There's no excuse for Nazism whether you're 17 or not. And also, I don't think he did anything here. Reading chat. Someone says, I think that there's an element of wanting acceptance from peers that comes into play. I mean, for sure. But again, I guess this really does boil down to, do you think he knew? And we can't answer that. All right. So moving on to BuzzFeed, because that was kind of wild. They posted in their coverage of this, Hudson Williams is going viral for all the wrong reasons after disturbing photos from his past resurfaced. And they have this little subline: y'all need to stop trying to excuse stuff as quote unquote teenage stupidity for these celebrities and hold them accountable. Hold on, I'm reading chat. Hold on, I'm reading chat. Someone said, he had a whole side account. Are y'all serious? And I won't comment about the wig. Y'all never take mockery of black culture seriously. Would you believe that I have a line in my outline about the wig, and we're also going to talk about black culture and mockery thereof in a second here? Because I feel like ignoring parts of the discussion to make it easier to have is not something I'm interested in. I do just still think we're now veering into the case of multiple things being true. But don't worry, if you wanted somebody to see that picture, we'll get there. Someone said BuzzFeed, oh brother. Yeah, oh brother, indeed. Anyways, in posting this on Threads, just with that, y'all need to hold him accountable, actor Simu Liu jumped in. Someone said there's a wig situation. Dog, there's a lot of situations going on here, and we'll get there when we get there. Reading chat. Someone said, of course, there's anti-blackness involved because we can never have peace. Literally, yeah, no, like it's that part of it is annoying. But listen, jumping in, Simu Liu, I guess not really being a fan of this byline, said, for an organization, BuzzFeed, that has become synonymous with clickbait, to never grow, never evolve, never have a moment of self-awareness, and just carry And just carry on publishing vile, sensationalist BS like this is just sad. Stop picking on people of color for absolutely nothing. No wonder your IPO failed so miserably. You're on par with TMZ at this point. Which is kind of harsh, kind of rough, but you know what? I feel as though another layer of complexity has been added to the scenario. Let's discuss it. Reading chat. Someone said, I like the two back-to-back comments, one of which says, anyways, Simu Liu is the GOAT, and the one under there says, not being defended by Simu. That's kind of funny. Not funny, but what a situation. So, again, much like I don't just want to ignore parts of the story that are obviously racist, bigoted, etc., I do believe that regardless of, you know, your opinions on Simu himself or the context of this photo, that this is true. This is something that this old picture of me on Threads is crazy. Y'all can tell I don't use this website. Anyways, this is something that someone said, have I missed the topic? No, you're in the middle of it, so it might not make much sense. I myself certainly perceive, just in my time doing research, the double standards between how things are swept under the rug versus focused on who needs to quote unquote be held accountable for what. People oftentimes being held accountable for the actions of others when you are part of a marginalized group. I do believe all of these things are real for sure. Someone said, look at all that hair. Yeah, I used to have more than that, but hey, we out here. It's summertime. I mean, it's been summer for like what? I've been bald for almost a year now. Reading chat. Someone says the live stream more populated today. I think it's moving a little bit faster because we're discussing something complex that can be polarizing, but I am mostly like hell-bent on doing so in a way that is not me being obtuse or ignoring large parts of the story, because maybe I have an agenda, but it's just to discuss every side of this to the best of my ability. So I think when you start looking at it in the context of, or I think you start getting opposing context here, in which it is true that society literally is too quick to try to move past people's swastika photos. And also, seeing who gets dragged for what, it absolutely oftentimes does come down to reflections of media being racist or hate campaigns against individual people. I don't know. This is one that I'm really going to struggle to discuss. I'm probably not going to put this in a video. This is more of a live stream thought. More it's between you and me. Every now and then, please take Hudson Williams out of this context for a second. As a commentary content creator and someone in this space, sometimes I get fatigued over how often I notice things get swept under the rug for certain people that they wouldn't for others. Okay, that's the best way I can put that. And if I was to sit here, I guess, and try to explain that I felt like it always has a lot to do with race, it may be easy to shoot me down, which is why I'm not offering this as like an argument to be, I don't know, taken down. I feel as though I know where this response is coming from. For sure, it's something I've seen myself. Maybe you've noticed, maybe you haven't. Someone said, I think it's just annoying because look at Trump in office versus any unlikable woman doing anything. We're going to talk about that, though. I also have a line in my outline about the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, this idea that, like, what if this is a woman who was in this case? I mean, we can talk about Blake Lively. Maybe we shouldn't, because then it's going to get really messy. But like, I personally believe that regardless of what Blake Lively did or did not do, obviously it was going to be disproportional backlash. I made a video about the things that she did, and yet it was still knowingly disproportionate backlash that was used against her by a smear campaign, because this is how things work with women. So also, don't, like, I'm not here to say there's not situations in which it would have been different. I do think in many contexts, though, like, it can be so hard, or not hard, like I'm not complaining, but it can be a little tricky to have a conversation where I'm not really talking about the alternatives or like what if this was. I'm mostly just talking about what is, not what if, you know? It's tricky, dude. It's tricky. Someone said Rachel Zegler especially. Yeah, 100% double standards. Yeah, no, so like all the people saying like it's tiring seeing certain people get defended, even though literally that's also what I'm doing and what I'm saying simultaneously, are all correct. Now, I'm going to probably have to say all of this again when we get to that part in the outline. That way I'm not repeating, or, you know, that way it's a little bit clearer. Reading chat, reading chat. Someone said, my main issue, hold on, we can talk about this. My main issue is that he didn't take accountability for it. He could have just said, oh yeah, this was a mistake. Sorry, I was young and dumb. But instead, he and his PR team decided to act dumb. Yes, I think we're now getting into like personal interpretations of it. Cause like, I think he and his PR team very clearly said it's an inexcusable photo and it doesn't reflect how he feels. If you feel like him not knowing about the photo or not knowing about that being on his face when the picture was taken is playing dumb, there's little I can say. Truthfully. Truthfully. Someone said we were talking about the actor from Heated Rivalry for the New People. Yeah, we were talking about Hudson Williams. Someone in the chat said, but he didn't do it. Yeah, there's so many moving pieces. Anyways, I need to realign us. So going back to what Simu was saying about this, he said, so I have this very, whoa, that's big. Why did it zoom in like 500%? So I have this very specific trauma, he says, attached to people on the internet, fabricating things about me and twisting things into a massive hate campaign when I first broke out. I began to recognize patterns whenever people of color specifically had a moment of visibility. This is kind of what I was broadly alluding to. These patterns are real, I swear to God. I'm not tinfoil hatting you guys right now. It happened like clockwork, and I see it happening now. The internet is insane. Bad actors are everywhere. If you're here, be careful, be smart. Someone said perfect font size for my old eyes. Yeah, I mean, hey, as I've gotten older, have been getting way into bigger text recently. It's been nice, honestly. I will say the one thing that I have to. Someone said Ariana pretended to be black and she's still here. Oh my God. You know, I'm gonna zoom out for a second. You know what I think the main issue is about this Hudson Williams conversation? I feel like it just immediately makes people start thinking about 10 different other situations, all of which are probably relevant. Because during the course of this, I have seen Ariana Grande come up. I've thought recently about Blake Lively, for example. Simu Liu is jumping in, saying it's reminding him of his experience. I saw somebody mention Trump, and I think that makes sense as well. I feel like this is literally such a hotbed for so many things, and that's why, yeah, no, this is really tricky, dog. Reading chat. Someone said, this might be the most divided I've ever seen the chat. I do also think, like, and this could just be me being Delulu, but despite the fact that we're seeing a lot of differing opinions, I don't think many disagree that a Nazi photo of you is bad, or a photo in which somebody has drawn Nazi insignia on you is bad, and that you should, what's the word I'm looking for, condemn that very clearly. And yeah, I hope at the very least we're all good there. I mean, if not, I would have to ban you if you disagree with that premise. But yeah, no, I don't think, like, when it comes to the parts that matter, there's too much disagreement, hopefully. Reading chat. Someone said this is a tough combo. Take breaks and drink water. I'm not having that much trouble, but I will drink water though, because I have not been drinking enough of it, and it's getting hotter. It's getting hotter and hotter. Someone in chat said we all dislike the same thing. Yeah. I also feel like even if you don't think that Hudson Williams, here's one for you. Even if you don't see this as an example of Hudson Williams being babied, I would think almost everyone in my chat would agree that there are double standards for men and women, and that frankly, a woman never could get away with this. I mean, maybe she could, and I'm sure probably someone can pull an example that shoots that down, but like, I also don't really think we're broadly trying to downplay the existence of misogyny here. Because again, I feel like I would just have to ban you. I keep seeing people mention Rachel Zegler. I feel like low-key I wanted to like make a video about her, like from a positive perspective, but I never do that. Usually just because you have to be careful, because then somebody can reveal themselves to be, well, a loser. But in Rachel's case specifically, I feel like the hate campaign against her has been going on for so long, and it's only made her more and more emboldened in doing the right thing. I feel like there's fodder for a video there for sure. Reading chat. Someone said, let's talk about his racist Instagram handle. There's a line in my outline about that. Anyways, someone said Melissa Barrera also. That they were discussing for that, trying to blacklist Melissa Barrera and firing her from Scream for speaking out in support of the people in Palestine, speaking out against genocide. And then everybody like, oh, Scream 7, yay. And I'm like, that was messed up. That was messed up, dude. Someone said the Rachel hate is so forced, literally. Anyway, sorry. I'm getting distracted too. Excuse me. Also, if I could just, so that we're still operating in the same space here, kind of give an example of like this specifically anti-Asian racism coming from BuzzFeed. This is kind of gross. I'm pulling this from Reddit. BuzzFeed quietly deletes racist segment in which Connor's Story and Hudson Williams thirst tweet video. In Connor's Story and Hudson Williams thirst tweet video after publishing an article about celebrity accountability. And in a video in which you might have seen the format, celebrities read thirst tweets. Somebody, this is pretty gross actually, had this big comparison using carrots. I feel crazy having those behind my head. Had this big comparison using carrots where they put the characters' names on the carrots of varying lengths and getting the short end of the stick as an Asian person. Dude, it's racist, obviously. And so I just feel like this is another thing in this situation that is true. BuzzFeed absolutely plays into anti-Asian racism, and it makes one question their coverage of certain things, even if we should be having discussions about swastika photos. That's sort of my stance on that specifically. Someone said that's so gross. It's beyond gross. It's disgusting. And to play into this literally in current year is just insane to me. I also just hate, like, if you see that somebody is having such a weird and uncomfortable reaction to it, maybe don't put it in the video and then sneaky delete it after the fact. Someone said their faces are my face right now. Yeah, no. So I don't personally feel like any one portion of this conversation is coming from like nowhere. That's just me. Womp womp womp. Reading chat. Someone said that's harassment. Okay, that's another conversation though. Like, I agree with you, but what I'm saying is that is almost, I feel so strongly about that. This idea of celebrities reading thirst tweets, or like in general, yes, obviously this is something that the celebrities are signing on to. I'm not asking y'all to feel sorry for a bunch of millionaires. My point is, I think this should show you why maybe this format should be questioned. It might be time for a reexamination of why we're doing this in the first place, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing right there, dog. Reading chat. Someone says, so why did Peloton delete him, and what is Peloton? I think they make those like stationary bikes. They're like an exercise fitness brand. And why did they delete him? They didn't say, so we have no way of knowing. The timing seems to coincide with this controversy, but all people have been able to do is speculate or have sources say that they were unrelated. So that's all we've got for that. Someone said this topic has so many branches. It literally does, which is why I think it's important. So the flip side, if you could allow me to start barking back down the tree that you're getting, is, hey, it's important, obviously, to have these conversations about accountability and hate campaigns and double standards, but also, yet another thing I don't think people would disagree with, people can do wrong things. I think, like, I haven't seen maybe too many things that lead me to believe people don't have this one through their head. But I will say, Simu comparing these two controversies has been unfortunately a little easy to shoot down, because first of all, I think his wording was really unfortunate right here, of essentially saying, like, picking on people of color for absolutely nothing. Like, dog, the photo is absolutely something. We don't want to sound too quick to dismiss things like this. And also, one of the main controversies that I saw was Shang-Chi's Simu Liu. Pedophilia is no different than being gay. So this is stemming from literally 2021 comments taken from allegedly Simu Liu's 2015 Reddit account, which people linked to him allegedly through an AMA, etc., in which he very, very clunkily is trying to say, oh, whoa, I messed up. In which he very clunkily appears to be explaining that pedophilia has more to do with the brain than people realize. Actually, kind of like how the same thing applies to homosexual. And I just feel like it doesn't matter what your context is. Here, me saying context doesn't matter in a video like this, I know is a little crazy. There's probably just no situation in which you should say, from a biological standpoint, it's no different than being gay. So it's not that Simu Liu in that specific case did nothing. He did do something. Sometimes people do bad things, I feel. And so I don't want to sound like I'm somebody who just thinks like, well, Hudson Williams existing, it's not even possible that he could be in the wrong. Everybody just hates people, or people of color, or Asian people, etc. I do still think we should actually examine when these situations come up and what's going on, because there's still important conversations to be had. Someone says, how does one create words in that order thinking there's a correlation / point being made? Yeah, no, this is dog. Whereas there was also a hate campaign against him for other reasons, you yourself also can and should take accountability for things like this. Now, granted, I do still have to, just trying to be responsible here, maintain it's possible somehow that this account would not have been his, but dog, it definitely does appear to be his. And when you combine that with his own statements about disclaimer, if you dig back far enough, I'm sure you'll find a more immature version of me who gave in to anger and hate. It doesn't make me a hypocrite, it makes me a human being. Mentalities evolve, we shift and we grow, and I want us all to grow the right way. And it's like, okay, Simu, come on now. So this is another example. This is another example of how, like, this situation keeps getting complicated from so many angles. If I say, hey, this is happening and it could possibly, or probably should be viewed through the lens of hatred against Asian people, and Simu Liu is talking about this through his own experience, and then it instantly gets flipped into, didn't he say that pedophilia is the same thing as being gay? I think both of these things are true, and it doesn't necessarily change the general point of this. But, like, I don't know why this situation was literally cooked up in a lab. Someone said, who is Simu? He played Shang-Chi in Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Seven Rings. I don't know why this situation was literally cooked in a lab to generate, like, maximum discourse. It's so interesting. Someone said Simu Liu had Rebel Wilson energy. Yikes. Someone said, where is Hudson in all of this? Why does he make a statement, or why doesn't he? I'm going to talk about that at the very end, is my little conclusion about a note for Hudson. I swear to God, somebody hated all of us. They did. And this is why we're here. Someone says it feels that way. Yeah, someone really hated all of us and was like, everybody's gonna be so mad over this, and you should be angry about hate symbols, you should be angry about homophobic statements on Twitter, but dog, this is wild. And this is why I said no to the statement initially. Anyways, all right, so that's one point we'll throw out. Hey, yeah, people can still do bad things, obviously. Other things that people have been talking about are Hudson Williams and his own playing into racism, etc. Hold on, let me see if I can find that. So they're referencing examples of cultural appropriation. I guess him in this braided wig here, which I don't even know where this photo was taken from. And also with the grills. And then this one is a little bit trickier because it is difficult for me to ascertain the veracity of these accounts, but also saying apparently or allegedly that he was in this group DM that was using what is a slur based off of an anti-black slur right here, but played into like a Chinese version of it. Again, like you have them posting, it seems to be posting like people who knew him following that account and that account having pictures of him, etc. Hold on, trying to pull this right here. Simultaneously, though, it does make my job a little bit harder when you easily have people saying at the same time, like, it's upsetting if he's part of it, but as somebody who is heavily active on heated rivalry Twitter, I know, I find it odd that this hasn't been noticed this entire time. There are or were huge accounts dedicated to posting hate and digging up extremely personal information about him and his family and friends, combing through everyone they follow, and this never came up until now. Somebody saying, where is the actual proof that this account is his and not owned by one of the people who have access to his accounts and who leaks stuff about him? And how come all of his friends' accounts were combed through by fans and this one slipped through? People saying there's no proof and he wasn't following it. I'm trying to find clearer examples of this just to make sure I'm not glossing over what would obviously be racism. It's just tricky when the waters are purposely being muddied by people who are either just making things up or purposely posting things outside of the normal context. But obviously, no, you shouldn't be using that word. It really annoys me, actually, how many different ways people will try to take the N-word and play off of it to still be saying it. I wish we could have this conversation. I just, as somebody who feels very strongly about that and does take it seriously, don't think it invalidates. I think my initial read of this situation, which is mostly just, I'm looking for examples of Hudson Williams himself expressing this, like, you get what I'm saying, hopefully. Reading chat. Someone said, it doesn't matter what age you are, racism is never okay. Yeah, no, I'm not here to excuse any racism at all. I just think, like, okay, I realize I'm talking about this too specifically. Let me talk about this broadly. Chat, what happens if you're racist and then someone does something racist to you? Where do we go from there? That's my question. I don't think we have to go anywhere fast. I just think acknowledging both parts of this is, to me, what makes the most sense. All of this, like, hidden anti-blackness, whether he was associated with this account or not, or cultural appropriation, are things that should be talked about. And I just hope I don't sound like some sort of idiot for thinking that the party disclaimer makes sense and seems to be elevated very far beyond these other instances of him trying to wear culture as a costume or using these words. That's how I feel. Sometimes people will be racist and then racist, awful things will happen to them. And there's just not necessarily anything wrong with calling it what it is from either side. That's how I feel. Someone earlier said this is a tough conversation, and now I feel like it's getting difficult for me. Because like this is trickier than it should be, but I still feel low key like we probably are on the same page. Someone said chat, why are super chats disabled? I'm new here. If you ever want to donate $5 to me, or not donate, like I'm not a charity, save it, because I'm gonna do a donation stream later in the year, and we're gonna try to raise a bunch of money, hopefully through like Tiltify or something where YouTube doesn't take a cut. And I don't know, I'll do some really heavy research, pick a charity, and yeah, but I don't need it. Someone said exactly, people can't be racist and also have experienced racism themselves. Yeah, because people of color are not perpetual victims. I say this as a person of color, neither are okay. I think here's the thing too that I personally feel like is driving a lot of this discourse. And this is tricky too, because now we're getting really in the weeds. But I do need some of y'all to know this. I am many things, right? I'm a person of color and I'm black, but those are not the same thing. At all. They're not even like slightly the same thing. And what happens a lot, I'm just telling you this happens, is when it comes to discussions in which we start using the term POC a lot, POC this, POC that, which I think is a useful term in many contexts, it can become very easy for anti-blackness to creep up in there and get completely ignored, invalidated. And so the dismissal of this swastika picture as an expression of invalidating important discussions of anti-blackness, even among POC communities, is real. I don't think the people bringing this up are crazy by any means. I'm actually glad this can wind up in a video so I can be on record pointing this out. I do also just have strong feelings about this as somebody who does get slapped under this broader label, and how there can be very similar patterns that apply to people of color across the board. But yeah, I thus far haven't really viewed any one particular group of people in this discussion as like singularly motivated by insanity. It's not crazy to be like, can we talk about the anti-blackness in relation to this? Is it completely disconnected? My one individual opinion that I feel as though I could believe it wasn't connected if he didn't draw it or know about the picture, doesn't invalidate that these are important conversations to have. Even if they piss some of y'all off, y'all will live. So put that in the video. Honestly, if I don't even feel like low key this should be controversial. That's the thing that bothers me too. I know that like this whole thing is being held under the context of it like feeling really like tricky to have and stuff like that, but like nothing about this really contradicts any other part of it to me. It just seems to on the surface, but if you get at the heart of it, I just think it's all expressions of the same thing, in my opinion. That's just sort of my stance on this. Reading chat. Okay, I'm glad that people see what I'm saying there, because that was a little I was like, oh dog, you gotta make sure you're being real clear about this one. Excuse me. Someone says normalize being specific about what groups of people you're talking about. I promise not everything needs to be abbreviated. You do get a lot further and a lot more like clear by doing that, which is why I made sure to split it off right here in the discussion of anti-blackness. But I don't know. Okay, now this part I'm not going to put in the video. Solidarity is a really interesting word. I believe in solidarity. I do. At the end of the day, no one can take it away from me. You could call me stubborn or wrong or whatever you want. I can't help myself from strongly wanting to believe in solidarity among communities. I just foolishly and in a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood way feel like this is going to be the thing to save us all. But I don't think solidarity means what everybody seems to think it means. It doesn't actually just mean like, oh, I'm in this community and you're in that community, so we have to agree on this and put up a united front. Not really. Intersectionality is actually a pretty complex thing. as you see, and it can result in tricky conversations. Now, I don't feel like this is a tricky conversation. I'm not like criticizing, I guess, anybody right here specifically, but I do feel like solidarity doesn't mean we should never have difficult conversations because they seem like they might cause short-term division. I actually think it means we should have as many difficult conversations as it takes. We could come back and have this conversation every day for the rest of the year in a different context, and I think it would move us closer to the type of consciousness that allows us to work together. I think a lot of times, like when you're getting this nonsense infighting, which I don't believe in leftist infighting, it's not real, I promise you. It's mostly just coming from like a misunderstanding, in my opinion, of what solidarity should look like. If that means like you need to sit me down and explain some things that like I'm missing out on, and it's going to be actually a difficult conversation for me, I should want that. And that's part of the you didn't see on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. But it still is like true and real. So that's also why I came back and decided to do this topic after the fact, because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm being hateful in this discussion towards, say, Jewish people who are taking offense at this anti-Semitic hate symbol, or towards like, I don't know, Asian people, or I know I'm not being anti-black. And you don't have to be any of those things in your discussion of this. Maybe by invalidating certain viewpoints, you could be these things, but it just makes more sense. Oh, and misogynist. We haven't gotten to that. That's probably the last thing that I want to talk about is the gendered perspective, because yes, that applies as well. But yeah, that's sort of my take. So anytime you see things coming up and you're thinking like, oh, this must be a tough convo or whatever, I'm low-key living, because I'm like, I would prefer that nobody ever drew a swastika on nobody's face, no matter whether that person no matter who that person was. But like at the same time, you know, we can break it down. It doesn't matter. That's the beauty of a live stream. Someone says nuance is something that I find lacking in the internet in general. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, chat. There's just nowhere else I would I don't feel comfortable discussing this anywhere else. I really don't. I really don't. There's no Reddit thread that I would put any of these opinions in. There's no Twitter thread. Everything is a thread in my mind. There's nowhere else. Maybe there's a lot of other YouTube channels where I think we could do this. And honestly, there are like accounts where people do talk about things in this way, but like, it rewards polarization. Obviously, the internet rewards polarization. Everybody profits. Well, not you. Like, everybody telling these stories profits when people are like madder at each other about them. And I just don't think we have to internet that way. Even if that involves hour-long conversations, we always come out of the other side. We almost always come out of the other side of them, like, with a stronger understanding of like where we're coming from, or that's how I feel. So this is just me. This is just me. We have Mr. Rogers did not adequately prepare me for the people in my neighborhood. I realized at some point this kumbaya stuff was only going to get me so far, but I didn't have to let go of my desire for a comfy cardigan. I didn't have to do it. Anyways. Reading chat. Someone said it's bad that he got racist hate before, but that doesn't mean he shouldn't be held accountable for things he has done. I agree strongly with that, for sure. Someone says, every time I see one of these thumbnails, it makes me glad I'm spending less time online. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If disconnecting from my YouTube channel is something that's going to help you spend less time online, you should dip, honestly. I mean, there's a creator part of me that's like screaming in the background. It's like, no, don't tell people this. You need the views. No, we will be okay. If you think to yourself like, damn, the only times I've felt stressed out over what's happening on the internet has been during these streams. Honestly, you might be better off. You know, now I'm not saying that's what you were saying specifically, but I used to be somebody who was just like, I'm going to try to make it not as wild as the rest of the internet is. That way you can sit through it. But I'm not going to be mad about it. I may be sad about it, but we will all live at the end of the day. Someone said, I'll miss you so much. Parasocially, I will miss you too. But if you're happier, then I'll be happier. Parasocially as hell, because I don't know you at all. But, you know. Someone said, oh, I like this comment. Please... Hold on, wait, I appreciate this comment a lot. Please distinguish between the Nazi swastika and the Sanatan swastika. Just mentioning swastika plainly in a negative sense is actually deleterious to Indic and Vedic culture and history nuance. You're correct, and I agree, and that's important. Honestly, the symbol, there has been an attempt to just completely destroy it and strip it of all of its meaning, and it is unfortunate that it is in most people's minds, like, well, associated with hate. And a lot of times when people like will bring up, oh, it can also mean these other things, you get that from people who actually just want excuses to use it without taking accountability for what they know it's associated with. But actually, that doesn't change the fact that that's still an important nuance. And like a swastika as it exists, existed before it was stolen and used for hate. So it's a Nazi swastika. It has to do with the angle, the specific way it was drawn, and the context. So yeah, you're right. I don't think that's a bad thing to point out. I don't think that's a bad thing to point out. All right, anyways, let's talk about the I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's literally not funny. Let's talk about the final aspect of it that I personally saw, which was a lot of people saying, like, people would never give this much grace to female celebrities. Actually, I'm directly quoting a Reddit post from 3 days ago. People would never give this much grace to female celebrities. That's all I have to say. You also have someone saying, Simu acknowledged this as well. A woman had replied and said, I've been there and it sucks. And he said, the way the internet, i.e. men, attacks women is beyond unacceptable. Whatever I went through as a dude. I can't even fathom how unsafe you must have felt. And like, just like I feel like all of these parts have been important pieces of this puzzle, I would agree. I did see, because y'all, I was way too deep in these threads if I'm being real with you. I did see pushback against this of like, well, this is whataboutism, and oh, I don't know, like insert celebrity gets away with things, but I don't really feel like these are, I feel like give me a second. Okay, there we go, I fixed it. I don't really feel like anybody bringing this up is doing so to be disingenuous. The same way that Simu was just kind of like, oh my God, the double standards are getting to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with pointing this double standard out either. And I know for sure, by the way, I'll put this in a video. This might be my first time saying this on video, but I say it in stream all the time. Literally, someone says, why does it keep circling back to Simu? Dog, that's not my fault. That's him inserting himself into the scenario. Literally, like the number one crime a woman can commit. I'm not like making this up. I write a lot of outlines about things that people do, and a lot of those people are women. The number one crime a woman can commit, does anybody know what it is? You probably do. You really don't need me to tell you. It's literally being annoying. That's it. We've gone through this before where I showed you, I forgot who put this out, like Ranker or somebody like that, was like the 100 most hated celebrities, and on the same list as like literally Diddy was Ellen DeGeneres, who obviously actually has harassed people and done wrong things, but I'm just like, whoa. Whoa. I forgot what other women were on there, but all of the men were on there. Because and oh, by the way, when I say being annoying, I'm not actually saying that you're being annoying. I mean that you're being labeled annoying for doing things like existing, as many people in my chat are saying, breathing, having opinions, speaking. All of this gets you labeled annoying. I very routinely watch fandom spaces just decide that they're tired, that we're just tired of her. So sorry. And then it's nothing but controversy and what's the word I'm looking for? Like disagreement with everything she does. So I just feel like seeing the 10th time in which some crazy photo has come out of somebody and people really rushing forward to be like, well, consider the context and think about this, and just thinking to yourself like, y'all are really not slick with this, is worth pointing out as well. Someone said Jennifer Lawrence. You could almost say anybody. Isn't Brie Larson low-key chill as well too? Isn't she fine? I feel like I have never actually seen anything. Now, hold on. If you're going to correct me. If I'm wrong, let me know. But I feel like I've never seen her do anything other than have like dry humor at times, which is not a sin. That's literally called having a personality. When at the end of the day, you can have people refusing to give you grace for having a personality in your brain. I definitely understand side-eyeing all of this majorly. Someone said Brie is dope from what I know. I literally like, we hate Brie Larson, we hate insert whatever. So yeah, this is also real. It's so cringe. Someone said Brie Larson breathes and people complain. Yeah, no, it's oh buddy. But so I agree broadly, actually completely, with the notion that men are babied. I can give you the best example of that. Well, not the best example, but the strongest one that comes to my mind, because I keep seeing this. Brad Pitt, who dog, genuinely, it's actually wild the things that people give this man an excuse for. His entire family has either distanced themselves from him intentionally, put out statements saying that he was a bad person, or in his ex-wife Angelina Jolie's case, literally said that he was abusive, abused her and her children. And yet this whole thing gets spun into, oh my god, evil Angelina Jolie has poisoned the minds of all of her and Brad Pitt's children and somehow convinced them that Brad was bad, as if he is literally just this little helpless baby who didn't do anything, and it's all like evil Angelina Jolie. I literally see this. Michael Jackson gets babied to no extent. You could probably switch this out with any dude and find somebody. So yes, people absolutely do this and will continue to do this, unfortunately. Someone said he's still got a career and they hate her. Yeah, no, it's bad. Someone said, isn't Zahara dropping Pitt from her name? Dude, all of his children are doing this. I think at some point, almost all of his children have yeeted his last name as soon as they were legally able to. And one of them even put out a statement just saying, like, this is not a good person. So absolutely no. Reading chat. Someone said Jamila Jamil says that women are granted 2 years until they're being deemed problematic and irritating. I think the problem with that, I'm not disagreeing, that it's like 2 weeks, or it just keeps getting shorter and shorter. I've noticed this. And I have to work so hard not to play into this too, because these are dominant cultural narratives. And it's way too easy to uncritically propagate this sort of attitude, which unfortunately I have done in the past. But that's why I didn't want to be dismissive of this idea. Like, you could label this a whataboutism, but it's still applicable in my opinion. Someone said, I was wondering how you feel about the new wave of new MJ defenders after the movie. You could find my video about that. I talked about that. Oh, no, wait. No, you mean like after the movie? I didn't talk about that. The new wave of them, I would just prefer not to think about them. That's how I feel, for real. Someone says, I worry about Indy Never Ready. Okay. Now I'm going to sound like I'm being parasocial. Or like I misspelled her name. I'm doing too much. I had the same thought. If you caught my video the other day about obsession, or the live stream about that, this is an example of a person who very recently shot to like crazy levels of superstardom. And right now I only ever see good things about her, as there should be, because I don't think there's anything bad to say. Very talented, etc. And I'm kind of bothered because I've seen people do this before. I've said this as a throwaway line on the stream a long time ago, but one of my early internet theories, or this is in its early infancy that I'm working on, even though I'm not the first person to say this, and probably people have already completed this line of thinking. At this point, blowing up is literally just part of your downfall. It's the first stage in everyone hating you. And I had the... I'm not trying to sound like some like prophet or whatever. I'm literally just going off of all the controversies I've talked about before. I had the same thought low key with these heated rivalry dudes. Let me pull them right here. When I saw what was happening, and I was just like, I was happy, obviously, but I was like, ooh, this kind of reminds me of that stage 0 where everybody loves this person. And soon, everyone is actually going to decide that this is the worst person ever for whatever reason. But yeah, this is absolutely something that is more common with women. It's not it, bro. Someone in chat said, while this is true, it is also really important. I'm going to put this in the video. While this is true, it's also really important that we don't swing too hard to pretending women can't also do crimes. People like Katy Perry get by because of this weird allowance. Yes, I would agree. In fact, I would say this is a pretty similar point to earlier when I was saying you can point out double standards involving racism without acting like people are incapable of doing bad things. The same thing applies here. This doesn't mean we then need to turn around and infantilize and baby people like Indy, because that's also misogynist. So, right? It's tricky. It's all tricky. Someone says it's literally a ticking time bomb. It really is. But yeah, no, that was mostly... Check my outline. Oh, here's the last thing I want to say. I do feel low-key like this conversation has been somewhat productive. I actually don't feel like mad. I don't feel heated or like my chat has been screaming at me this entire time. I don't feel like there's any part of it I didn't get to say. I do think high key that I do totally have an issue with a certain group of people, and beyond all the racism or the importance of discussing these things, it is these weirdos who are actually purposely trying to ruin the heated rivalry actor's career. Well, it looks like my work here is done. Have a fun weekend, folks. I'm having a good one. Let's hope it works this time. Pulling this like random Tumblr post. We won't stop until he kills himself. This disgusting POS deserves nothing more than to... Okay, why am I actually reading that? My point is, we're all here trying to have, I believe, an important conversation about racism and intersectionality. And there are people literally who are just happy that racist pictures exist because this is all part of their weird urge to try to somehow make these people disappear from the face of the earth, which is a level of parasociality that truly goes far beyond almost anything I've ever talked about. That doesn't mean that anybody bringing up these criticisms or everyone is doing that, because I myself have just brought up a bunch of criticisms. But I definitely think we should start asking, well, why exactly did we have his personal friend's Visco account from 8 years ago? It's all just important stuff. Reading chat. Someone said the thing is Hudson's PR likely told him to say nothing so it will go away. It's hard to say if it's on him. Okay, here's the part I disagree with. At this point, Hudson Williams, if you're watching this, which you're not, I certainly hope, I feel like he needs to say something. That's just my opinion. I know sources close to him have said whatever they've said. I just still feel like, personally, in a world where you see how this conversation is going with what's been given a few days ago, I think it would go a long way just for himself to say, I absolutely categorically, all the things he said. Don't believe, or I don't support or excuse hate speech. This is a hate symbol that was drawn on my face. I'm sorry that this picture caused pain to people, because you can be sorry like that even if you're not the one who did that. I think he should say something. I think he clearly tried not saying something and it hasn't gone well for him. This to me doesn't read as the kind of thing that you should let blow over. Do I maybe understand trying to let it blow over beforehand? Sure, but it didn't work. And when you have people suspecting Peloton must have dropped him because he's a Nazi, maybe this is a great time to be a little more forthcoming, regardless of how PR trained you are. In my opinion. That's my opinion. Someone said, I completely disagree that he should speak on something that was done to him, but by him. Or that, okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think the thing is, it doesn't like kill you to say, I don't support Nazism. That's mostly what I'm getting at. I do think like the responsibility of what happened, that's not what I'm saying he should take on. I don't need an apology video where he's sad that someone has done something to him. I just think if there was ever a great time to say, actually, everybody who supports this is terrible, and I don't want to be used as a symbol of supporting this because I didn't draw that there. This is a hate symbol. This is the time. So no, that's not this. Like, I agree with that. He shouldn't have to take responsibility for something someone else did, but dog, you are a public figure at this point. You have an image. This is terrible. Speak up, buddy. This is the time. I'm telling you, ignore your PR people. But anyways, that's all. Someone said make your stance clear. Yeah, no, I feel like it's up to every person at the end of the day. Like, you definitely don't have to say things if you don't want to, but no, it's always the right time to denounce Nazis. In my opinion, it's always a good thing to do, especially when people are trying to figure out if you may be one. That's the worst time to not say anything, in my opinion. Okay, so really that was it, though. We talked about Hudson Williams being the guy from Heated Rivalry, speaking in popularities, winning all of these Canadian Screen Awards. He's getting all of these opportunities. Red carpet, brand deals with Peloton. The picture of the Nazi swastika resurfaces as found by people around him. Obviously, people immediately react with disgust because I think that's the correct reaction. And then sources close to Hudson providing context of actually this was drawn on him against his knowledge, and he doesn't support this at all and doesn't excuse it in any way. Peloton dropping their campaign seemingly, but that could also just be part of business as usual. And Dumois somehow having sources saying it was just that, even though I don't trust Dumois, I don't trust TMZ. Examples in which Peloton has done the same thing in the past, so who really knows? The simulio of it all, which really threw multiple monkey wrenches into this. Because BuzzFeed being racist, and then him pointing this out as an example of racism while simultaneously also having some skeletons in his closet that I think he could have taken more accountability for. The other side of this, important discussions about things Hudson Williams has done, anti-blackness, cultural appropriation, being associated with this slur, even whether that's true or not, I feel like doesn't matter. My point was like, ignoring all of this doesn't make any sense in the conversation about trying to figure out the context in which somebody had racist hate drawn on them. And that's important to have as well. And then also the multiple people saying there's a double standard about this when it comes to what men get away with, and that urge to just defend a poor little ooh baby man that does exist, that I have to kill in myself every day. And how I don't believe the people, I'm going to put this in the video, and ultimately, I just don't believe the people saying a picture of you with hate on your face is terrible and racist. I don't believe the people saying it's actually a pretty hateful thing to do that to somebody, and especially when you're a person of color. I don't believe the people saying the way that this is being framed a lot of times mirrors or plays into double standards when it comes to, as Simulio pointed out, Asian people being represented in media. I don't believe the people saying any of these things are wrong. I don't believe the people saying we shouldn't ignore discussions of anti-black racism just because they may complicate your point a little. I don't think they're wrong. I don't believe the people saying hey, we should maybe talk about how this can be viewed through a gendered lens and all of this would be different. I don't think any of these people woke up and decided, I'm going to have the worst take on this. it might seem like a lot of conflicting it might seem like a lot of conflicting opinions, but none of this really sounds that bad. I only believe the people who are like, we just hate Hudson Williams for specifically because we have nothing better to do and we're gonna comb through every aspect of his personal life. Those people gotta stop, bro. This is wild, dog. But yeah, I did it. Someone said, I thought you were going to end it on I don't believe these people. No, I believe all of these people is what I was trying to say. I went back and forth. I woke up. I was like, dog, you have the outline. You have the outline. You know the whole story. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And I was like, no, I am going to do it. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But at the end of the day, my choices were literally between this and, well, I don't even want to say what the other thing I was going to do was because I might still do it. But I am happy with my presentation of this. I'm not actually, I think sometimes I end these conversations with a feeling of failure because I don't think I did a good job. But I actually feel like that was fine. Now I'm going to ask before I record an outro, do y'all have any other things to add to this? I'm genuinely asking. If there's anything where you feel like maybe I missed or whatever, that's now's the time. Someone said he doesn't have to address it. That's definitely a valid opinion as well. I'm just giving my opinion, or I guess what I would do in that situation. Someone said you did a good job. I appreciate that. But any other like points that you may feel are like actually pretty broad, maybe that flew over the radar? Because as you see, I was literally trying to juggle a bunch of things. A lot of things. Someone says this conversation is too nuanced to be discussed on Twitter or Reddit. Yeah. Someone said, thanks for creating a safe space to discuss these topics. Yeah, I hope that if you shared any of these like 5 main things I was saying, you don't feel like we're against you, because we're not. Maybe only if you're just like, I hate this person because I am, I don't know what's wrong with the people who do that, but yeah. Someone said topics with this much nuance are frustrating, but you did great. I think because they prime us to expect to be shot down and invalidated, which when that doesn't happen, it can actually feel pretty cathartic. Someone said me thinks we covered it all. I feel like we did, low key. Someone said the grills AAVE emoji combo, maybe. Okay, yeah. As far as the cultural appropriation of it all, and I'm not putting this in the video, but I will say, like, y'all, this goes for everybody. Everybody. I think like the attempt to wear blackness as a costume is so normalized. There's many cases in which even if I pointed this out as racism, I would get shot down. Honestly, it don't matter how funny you thought it was or how harmless you thought you were being. A braided wig, the grills of it all, AAVE, etc. That is one of the most like sharply unaddressed areas, in my opinion, of racism. I think what's getting worse is people are getting bolder. Y'all getting really bold with this. Cultural appropriation has always been bad, obviously, but I have just noticed an uptick right now. Everybody wants to be 100% caught up on AAVE. I feel like if somebody sold a dictionary right now, it would go number 1 on iTunes. You're like, how would that happen? It's a book. It would go number 1 on iTunes. I genuinely cannot believe how bad the cultural appropriation is getting. So if you did see all of this and you were thinking like, oh, I don't think the grills or the wig was that bad. No, it was. But that's part of a conversation that I think is larger than Hudson specifically. Dog, oh my God, I feel like I'm besieged upon all sides. Like, and what can I do? Nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I don't feel a strong desire to do anything about this. It's not my responsibility. I'm tired. But yeah, no. Oh my God. I can only speak for myself, but I can also speak for some of my friends and family. Like, we are a little confused at the current state of appropriation. Why did we go backwards on that? Why did we? I felt like for a second we kind of realized like, oh, this actually isn't funny when you're totally like lifting this culture, this language, these trends, these etc., and like wearing them with no changes while also doing so in a more humorous context. I almost was foolish enough to think we got the memo, but we missed it. Well, not we. But yeah, no, that's that. Man, I don't even. Yeah, I don't know. Cause like if I was going to have a conversation about that, it would turn into TikTok is racist. and like I think TikTok is everything that's wrong with society. Because it's just people. It's just a lot of people. But I really do think if I started off with like, can I give a little 2 cents about cultural appropriation and the rise of it in internet culture? It would just end with me saying TikTok is an instrument of anti-blackness. And I don't think, despite that being pretty obvious to me, people are in like a, I don't know, like a happy place to hear that. So I've just been sitting on that one. And maybe I should stop sitting on it. Maybe that's literally like part of the problem is me not wanting to kick the hornet's nest. But I'm just like, I get so tired when people start trying to act like this stuff isn't real or doesn't exist. So yeah, no, that I go. It literally makes me want to go sleep. That's me personally. No. Someone says I hate people using the ninja emoji in place of the N-word so much. I have seen white people doing this. I have literally seen white people on the internet using the ninja emoji in place of the word insert. And I'm like, there is no way. There's no way. First of all, even that in and of itself is literally, it's still cultural appropriation because black people we do this. We've been on the ninja emoji because it's funny. But I have actually literally seen that one breach containment. Yes, I have absolutely been on some of y'all's profiles. And I'm like, did you literally just use like the ninja emoji as like a general reference to like people or like men? What? And that's when I say like, hey, don't you think these things are getting a little out of hand? Cause I do. Someone said, who's doing this? I can't tell you the last time I saw this because it wasn't someone famous. I literally was just in the process of reading a bunch of comments. I like saw the little 3 emojis and I was like, chat, I did the thing that I feel like we've all been guilty of at one point. I went to the source's profile. I was like, I know that you're not black using these emojis. I went to the profile. They weren't. They was not. I'm not even talking about like, oh, maybe they were and I can't tell by looking. No. No. They very clearly stated that they weren't in other contexts. And I think I've also seen that one other time. And I'm just like, oh, so y'all are doing this. Okay, y'all are doing this. You know, another thing, someone said, I saw it yesterday. I'm going to tell you about another thing that I'm really tired of seeing. But first, let me record an outro. Everybody say goodbye. Say goodbye to YouTube. But we're not leaving. I'm going to rant about something, a term that I've seen that has pissed me off to no end. And I'm like, y'all really think you're going to get away with this? So say goodbye and I'll record the outro. So says social media is accessible. Dog, it's bad. It's bad. Excuse me. All right. Anyways, usually for my outro, I say, hopefully you never have to think about this again. I know I will certainly try not to, but I feel like this situation, as I mentioned, was just made in the lab for me to do nothing but obsess over. I'm going to try to forget it, though, to the best of my ability. But yeah, I actually recorded this video live right here on YouTube, where I stream quite frequently, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Unless I don't, in which case I'm probably just, I don't know, sleeping. But yeah, hopefully I catch you in the next video or the stream. And if not, it doesn't matter at all. Okay, bye. All right, stop recording. Black fatigue. I saw that term thrown around by a racist the other day. And I was like, what? I'll tell you exactly what it was. I don't remember what. I I don't remember who exactly was the influencer in this specific case, but they had made a video, I think, calling out racism in their niche. It was music related. It might have even been some like rock YouTuber. Someone said, I knew that's what you were referring to. Yeah, the fatigue convo needs to stop immediately. They made a video basically saying like, hey, this other creator is being racist. And his whole comment section was just all these people excusing racism and being like, oh, who cares, bro? You're just like drama farming. You're just stirring the pot. Like, who cares? But I saw one comment that said, oh, come on, bro. We're all feeling the fatigue. And I was like, you're all feeling the fatigue. It was one of the first times in a few months that I read a comment without immediately understanding it. So I did some research and trying to unpack what that means. This has been going on for a while now. Apparently, racists have tried to co-opt the term black fatigue and refer to they're just tired of black people. I kid you not. See, this term was already kind of maybe not used widely to where I saw it all the time, but certainly used. You can find instances of black people referring to their own experiences of just being tired, because duh. But for some reason, some goofy goober really thought like, oh, you know what would be funny if we actually said that we had black fatigue because we're just tired of black people existing at all. And I don't know what you're actually tired of, but yeah, they were literally in the comment section defending a racist, talking about like, bro, come on, we're all feeling a fatigue. And then I feel like a second time, or like in me trying to find this, I found more comment sections where people were just like, yeah, the fatigue, bro, the fatigue. Someone said, I thought that black fatigue was supposed to mean the inherent weight black people face at having to be activists. That's literally what it was. They are literally trying to steal this term and use it against people and just say we're tired of black people, just to like shut you down in a single sentence. Like, oh, please, you're feeling the fatigue. And I'm just like, nah, bro. Nah, I'm tired. Someone said, why are they so obsessed? I think it's like, I don't want to sound, actually, who cares how I want to sound? I can sound however I want to sound. Completely within my right to do so, and I shouldn't be so worried about how I'm coming across. It's fatiguing to me to see every aspect from a cultural perspective just being stripped of its original context and distorted and mined for everything it's worth and then redistributed at a more successful rate by non-black people while simultaneously daring to suggest that y'all are tired of us. Tired of us. Y'all being racist literally are like going to sleep, waking up, going throughout your day for a 24-hour period, and all y'all thought about was us. Who should actually be tired in this case? It's not you. So yeah, this has all just been very like cringe, and between the ninja emojis and everybody's feeling the fatigue now, and I don't know if there's any little bit of AAVE left that people don't know, they're gonna find it and make it mainstream. I have been being, I don't know, I don't know. I told y'all about that racist hate mail I received, right? The hate email. I think I mentioned this a while back. I definitely did. But like, I'll bring it up again. Like, this joint was addressed to me and a bunch of other channels, and to the point where like I probably shouldn't have even like mentioned it publicly, but I was just so very flabbergasted. This is months ago. But yeah, receiving an email to my personal email. Maybe I didn't mention it. Maybe I didn't mention it because I didn't want to like give attention to this. Or maybe I did and it was just a while ago and we don't remember. But I'll bring it up now because it's relevant. To my personal email, not one that is public. Someone had emailed me a very, very long essay basically about how like everything wrong in America is because of black people, and the slave trade was a mistake, not because slavery was bad, but because now there's black people in the United States. I'm being serious, by the way. Oh, and they also had like stuff in there about how COVID was a hoax and vaccines are evil, but it was mostly just like anti-black. And I looked at some of the other like CC, the people who it was sent to, and it was just mostly a bunch of black channels. For some of them, they had our actual personal email addresses, which I have no idea how they obtained. And for other ones, I could see it was the actual channel addresses. And I'm like, dude, I everything things are getting worse. Okay. I don't want to sit here and like smile every day, 3 days a week, and just like power through all of this as a black creator, and like mislead anybody into thinking that this is going to be a fun time for you. It's really not. Everybody's getting more emboldened. I was really not disturbed by the content thereof, because sadly it's not really stuff I hadn't seen, but I think I was just disturbed by like the audacity of it. I was just like, wow, I have always gotten this weird racism stuff, but nobody has ever been this like this forward, I guess. Chat, I was literally not figuratively shook by the types of things that people are just all too happy to say now. And obviously everything has been bad, but nah, man. So simply take breaks and breathers whenever you need. I appreciate it, and I will. And hey, I did take a break earlier. It wasn't because of that by any means. I think too, it's just like, I don't even get tired to the point of me not wanting to do this. I just get to the point of like, dog, hold on, wait. Okay, so I'm not on my streaming computer, or I'm not on the computer that I usually stream from. I'm on a different computer, and I literally still have this. Black Americans are the most ungrateful people on planet Earth. That's the first line. I get my emails as notifications, like most of us, on our phone. So I woke up that day, and it was like, email from, insert the name, someone I didn't know, and the subject line said Blacks, Floyd, Africa, and then Google, Gmail will show you the first line of it, and I was able to read where it says Black Americans are the most ungrateful people on planet Earth. And from here, after explaining that everything they have is because of America and white people or whatever, I forgot that there was George Floyd in here. They go in to share conspiracy theory misinformation about the death of George Floyd and trying to act like he was not murdered by police officers. There's racist, awful things in here about Africa and poverty. And yeah, I was like, it's so weird, I guess, like seeing things that are explicitly done with the intention of trying to make me disappear. Like, I'm not going to do it. I care insofar as like this is a bad thing to have happened and it was upsetting, but it's almost like there's no point in doing this because I'm not going to stop or change anything. And I know that I shouldn't be adjusting it, but it's been months. I think this person has moved on. What the heck? So yeah, no, I don't even know, like I literally didn't even know what to say to that. I had just like told everybody at that time, like in my personal life, I was like, dude, this is super weird. And I'm just letting you know because if they have my email address, I hope they don't, like, just look out just in case anything weird happens. And frankly, it made me not want to check the mail. I know that might sound like an overreaction. I know that might sound like, okay, come on, D'Angelo, it was an email. But I'm just being honest. After I received that, I became very, very hesitant to like check my mail. I didn't want to see what people were addressing to me because my address isn't public info. But I'm just like, if this is the game that we're playing of like, oh, I guess it doesn't matter if your info is public or not, we're going to use it. Why would I want to be like opening random letters or packages? So that was just a really disturbing period where I'm just like, dude, I don't know what other info this people have. Am I going to get like texted? Am I going to get sent something crazy? Am I going to open this and hurt myself? Like, I don't know. So yeah, it's all very much done with the intention of just trying to make you disappear, stop posting, stop being public, not speak up about things. And yeah, no one ever did that to me in the first few years of my career. I've had videos pop off more than anything I've done recently. But recently now, yeah, I want to get this emboldened. It's a mess, dude. It's an absolute mess. Sometimes I'm sorry that happened. I appreciate it. I will say, like, me bringing it up, the empathy means a lot, and I'm grateful. It's mostly just to let y'all know, next time you hear somebody telling you, not that you were disbelieving them, that things are getting worse, this could be the energy that they're referring to. That's what I mean when I say things are getting worse. Dog, what a mess, man. What a mess. Reading chat. Someone said, I often heard this horrible stuff working in the government on the phone and email, and it made me scared to answer the phone. That's a valid and understandable reaction. Like, you don't want this. You don't want to play like spin the wheel, and is me opening my inbox today going to be hate speech? It's absolutely mess, dude. Someone said it's not a game. Privacy is unfortunately a suggestion. Yeah, no, that's rough, buddy. But yeah, I don't know. And then it's tricky too, because it's like, when you have people who are counting on you not acknowledging that this happens, it just means all this happens in silence. And I just like, well, I guess even if this is a stupider option to acknowledge this, I'm still going to say something, because I wasn't left with any proper recourse. There was no right answer for what I should or should not do after something like this happens. Someone said people are getting way too comfortable being bigoted nowadays. They really are, clearly. I mean, just from the state of the world. I mean, I don't want to transition into like a depressing or further depressing conversation, but like, I'm just talking about one thing, but this applies across the board. The rise in conservatism and fascism and etc. is terrible. It's definitely something we are probably all aware of at this point, but should be aware of. This is not like CNN trying to mislead us, or, you know, Fox News wanting us to be angry. It straight up is becoming more common, and things are moving backwards, and it's very disturbing. But that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I'm still going to keep doing what I got to do. For real, for real. Someone said, I'm legit glad you shared. I felt better after saying it, because I'm just like, shouldn't people know? Shouldn't people know that, like, people aren't crazy when they're telling you that these things are happening? And that's also why I take people at their face value. I believe people when they're telling me other things are happening that I may not experience because of who I am. I tend to believe you if you're saying, actually, it's really awful when this type of thing happens. Because I feel like probably we don't know the extent of these things, because no one, or not everyone, is even in a safe position to talk about the extent. Who here is not or has not been in safe positions to talk fully about the extent of harassment or abuse that you've received? This has happened to me in the past. I feel safe now, but I can think of when I was younger and bad things would happen, and I just straight up, due to being unwilling to jeopardize myself, could not tell anyone what happened. I knew for sure everything was going to fall back on me, and I was going to make things worse for myself objectively. I was not going to achieve anything by speaking up about it, no matter how hard it was or how many people were encouraging me to. I'm like, I know that this is going to hurt me, and I don't want to get hurt again. And that is really tricky when you're left with like no right answer, which is why I tend to believe people when they say like, oh, this is really bad, and I don't want to get into it. I'm like, they're probably right. They're probably right. They really, really are. Someone said living in a small white town as a bi-native woman is something. I would imagine. I believe you. I really would imagine. Nah, man. Someone said it's scary to see our society go from being progressive to regressive. I would agree strongly that it's scary. It's disturbing. I feel like our only options are like capitulate or resist. So it's tiring, but I don't know. This is also why I say, and I'm being for real. I'm being so for real right now. I mostly talk about this in reference to being black, because I say this to like my black friends sometimes, but I have to remind them, hey guys, living while black is actually an act of resistance. Please don't forget that. And I do strongly believe that any marginalized group definitely can substitute that. I know personally, excuse me, like living as a queer person is in and of itself an act of resistance. Now, that doesn't mean that that's all I should be doing or all I'm capable of doing. I can do more. I can resist strongly and in more specific ways, but sometimes I just have to remind myself I woke up today and that was me resisting. I don't have to worry too much about what I should do because I am doing it by being here right now, still going outside and doing things I have to do. I believe you can say for sure living as a woman is an act of resistance. I would not disagree with that. That would be crazy. So don't forget that, like, yeah, we do need to fight, obviously, but in those times where you feel like the most you can do is drag your eyes open, you're still fighting. That's how I feel. Someone said queer love is resistance. It is, though. It really is. Existence is resistance. Yes. Like, you can't convince me otherwise because this is hard. Anyways, I'm going to get myself some more water while you listen to the dulcet tones of my starting soon screen. I bet I can be back in 90 seconds on. Screw it, 38 seconds. Fastest gun in the West. Fastest gun in the West. Y'all were counting down in here? Were y'all counting down? Did y'all not believe me? Oh, I'm offended. I'm offended. If I say I'm going to be back in 90 seconds, then I'm going to be back in 90 seconds. Except probably knowing me, I would come back in like 90 minutes and be like, oh, was I streaming? So, okay, fine. I'll give you that one little thing. Someone said staying visible and normalized is so important. Agree. Oh, I want to show y'all something I made, but I don't have my phone. Wait, hold on. This might be in my OneDrive. I made a picture yesterday. I used my Photoshop skills, the same ones I use to edit all my thumbnails. Excuse me. I went because I've been in the process of doing all of my I've been in the process of doing all my medical stuff, checkups, labs, blood work, whatever vaccine boosters I need, etc. And the one of the doctor's offices I went to recently, they handed out like little pronoun pins, which I thought was cool. They had ones for like he, him, obviously she, her, they, them. They even had some neo pronouns up in there though. They literally had like they, them, ze, her pronoun pins at the doctor's office, and I was like, woke. Positive. I was very shocked at the existence of the neo pronoun pins at the doctor's office, but I stole one of them. They were giving them out, and I edited it in Photoshop to show my true pronouns. And I feel like low-key, if I could get my hands on this as a pronoun pin, I would wear this all the time. These are my true and actual pronouns. Now, granted, the ones I tell people are he, him, because that's easier to say out loud than this. But these are my actual pronouns, just so you know. Next time you're wondering about it, like, I know he says he, and also that he's non-binary and doesn't say like they, them. So what's going on there? It's just, I don't think people can say this. I don't know how to say it. So he, him. And I would like to strongly reiterate, this is a Photoshop job. You don't gotta what's the word I'm looking for? ChatGPT everything. It's actually really easy to do this. It's just clone stamp, press S, and then actually I'm getting nerdy, but yeah, I love photoshopping things. Someone said mood. Yeah, mood. So people were saying I do feel like maybe some of my MVs in the chat might feel that, or maybe you just feel that in general. You're just like, screw it. I usually am this one thing, but sometimes I feel like this other thing right here. That's me. Someone said just say like Roblox affects noises. My pronouns are and Actually, I think probably the way to pronounce that would be or like the two stages of the kombucha girl gif are my pronouns. And that's on period. Someone says anytime someone tries to define my gender, it makes me disappear a little more. Exactly. Like, oh, you're trying to perceive me? Turns into a little bit more of a shadow until some point there's nothing left to perceive, which is the ultimate goal. I still want to be here in this world, but not as an actual agent. I want to be on the periphery. Thank you. Ooh, I like this. I really like this comment right here. I'm not sure if I am non-binary, but I really like the idea of it. I think that's a great place to start. First of all, you may not be. Not everybody is. But I feel like low key, that's where I started. That may, everybody gets there differently, obviously, but I do feel it's somewhat common for MVPs to at some point realize, like, wait a second, non-binary kind of makes sense in a way that I understand. That's cool, and I'm happy for those people. But then the window never closes. That's what happened to me. When I finally understood what non-binary identity was, which is a collection of various ways of being, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I tried to move on, but it didn't work. And now fast forward and I realize some things about myself and I'm like, oh no. And also one thing I will tell you is your current gender expression or whatever is probably not in any way incompatible with being non-binary. So if you're like, man, I don't know, this non-binary stuff just really like clicks with me for some reason, but I also am comfortable the way that I am, you could be both. You really could. It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us, dog. Some of these labels help folks understand themselves. They really do, for sure. That's why I'm not ever someone who's like, oh my God, let's just move past a label. Let's just move past labels. Even though technically, underneath all of it, I do mostly just feel unlabeled. I'm not going to lie. I do feel like I really love the term non-binary. I find it beautiful. And like a spec helps people understand me a little bit more, but I don't really think of myself as like a collection of words at all. But even with that being said, I wouldn't have gotten anywhere without these labels. They helped me a lot, and I find them to be really helpful for other people. So maybe someday it won't matter, but I think in this world where everything is so normative in other directions that may not represent us, it matters quite a bit. They're very useful descriptors for us, in my opinion. Someone said, thank you, I needed that. Okay, good. I'm glad it helped. Someone said, I feel cool with being a woman, but then sometimes I see JC Chase from NSYNC dancing and singing in 2001 and I want violently to be him. So that's that. I mean, just the urge to be the fifth NSYNC member. Actually, how many members were in that band? They may have already had 5, but you get my point. Someone said trans mask and trans femme are definitions to help non-binary people or anyone label themselves if you want to. Yeah, there's so many labels that you could look into, ones that like support you or you feel supported by. I think it gets kind of like tricky because I technically, I'm just telling my own story here. I never like transitioned as an intentional thing. I did start moving towards a direction that many people were starting to heavily associate with femininity, and I felt like it represented me very well. I'm gonna pull. I always pull the same clip of me in the Ozempic video because I feel like that's when I hit like max whatever was going on there, which was really great. Let's see. For sure. I've heard about this. So whereas I wouldn't necessarily describe myself as being trans femme, I did kind of at one point just completely be okay with like, wow, everything that currently represents me seems to be feminine. And I don't really care if anybody thinks that I'm a man right now at all. But then the funniest thing happened to me. The funniest thing happened. As I was moving through life this way, actually really happy and proud of myself with the way I was presenting myself, I started thinking like, but now I want to shave off all of my hair and wear all black. And it was coming from the same place. I was like, I actually feel like I've been confusing a few people. And if I go a little further, maybe fewer people will think I'm a man, and that would be interesting. But then I was like, or I could just mess things up on purpose. So I shaved off all my hair and I switched up my aesthetic for no reason. Or because I wanted to, I guess is the only reason I do anything. And I feel equally represented this way. But the funniest thing about me is that neither one of these, it looks like I'm winking for the camera, is more or less a representation of who I actually am. All of this is just on the outside. I feel like I literally could have pushed this joint to 11 and everybody would have been like, what's going on here? But for me personally, nothing was actually going on. That's the funniest thing about my experience and experiments of like being perceived in certain ways. It's possible I hit points sometimes where people don't know what I am. I mean, no one ever knows what I am. But yeah, it doesn't matter how gendered I seem to be one way or the other. I'm just not. So I am not trans like anything specifically, even though non-binary just generally falls under the label. And I think that makes more sense for me and my experience of it. Someone said the Cher outfit was my favorite. That one was super cute. I loved that one. Well, which one did I do that for? Was that a video about Lauren Sanchez Bezos, I think? I'm trying to find it. Hold on. That was a really cute outfit. Oh no, I don't think it was that one actually. Okay, whatever. I wore at this one point an outfit inspired by Cher from Clueless, and it was pretty iconic, if I do say so myself. Maybe, oh, here it is. Oh no, wait, is this the one? Zooming out. Man, I don't have a good example. I don't have a good example of that outfit in its entirety. I'm sad. Whatever. I'm sure it exists somewhere on the internet. Who cares? I'm a public figure. You can find it. But yeah, no, I love experimenting and I love everything. It's fantastic. It's great. Sorry if you got really excited to see this Cher pic and I couldn't find a good version of it. It doesn't matter. I'll do another cosplay for you someday. I really, really will. Someone said it was the Devin Rodriguez one. Yes, it was. That was an interesting video. That was, what an interesting person and scenario. Someone said your gender may just be fierce. I feel like my gender is just me trying to serve for real. For real. That's just it. I think the thing that like skeeves people out who don't understand is, in my mind, nothing I've ever done has ever been feminine or masculine ever. I'm being serious. I know that might sound like I'm being like disingenuous or whatever. I just promise you, when I woke up and I was like, I'm going to wear a little tiara and put butterflies in my hair and a soft lavender outfit and talk about Ozempic. That was an interesting topic. I actually like that video a lot. I wasn't thinking I'm doing this because people are going to think that I'm being more feminine. I was just like, this is how I feel like looking. And then later, as we've gotten into some of this darker stuff that I've been doing, me having no hair, and as if having no hair is gendered, or like being covered in tattoos isn't it's not really masculine, nor is like wearing black. So it's very funny, like nowadays going out in the world and everyone's like, sir, and I'm just like, as if I'm more of a man now than I ever have been, which is not at all, except I also kind of am. It's hilarious. It's very funny. And I feel like, probably knowing me, I have several other iterations in store. No, just I know it's true. I don't know what they are. I've never been able to actually predict one of my, I don't know, aesthetics before they occur. But I feel like I'm the type of person probably to like look at myself one day and be like, wow, what? How did I get here? How did I get this far? And it's literally just because I keep going with the vibes. So you never really know. You never know. Someone said I relate so much. It's the case for maybe not like many people, but definitely enough people for it to be a common experience. Someone said the pink background complements the black. I agree. That was also part of my reasoning for like the background. I had a lot of reasons for the background. It's all part of my thesis of multiple things being true. But like when I came back, I really wanted to show people that like, yeah, parts of this aesthetic are aggressive and get labeled as masculine by society. But dog, I'm still this person who likes this pink background just as much as the creepy clothes I'm wearing. So it's been really fun. Someone said, I have a hard time separating gender as something that's my private identity versus other people's perception of me. Me too. I mean, like, I don't maybe like struggle with that as much now because I just don't care anymore. I got burned out from caring about what any of y'all think about the way that I look. It's completely irrelevant to me. But at the same time, like, you are sort of in some ways defined by how you're perceived. You don't have to be, but it doesn't change the fact that like that's an aspect in your mind. And so yeah, no, that's a really tricky one too, of just thinking like, well, I just am this way regardless of what anybody believes, but then also kind of thinking like, but I want them to think of me this way. That doesn't mean that you need their validation for your gender to be correct. It just means you want the gender euphoria of being perceived the way you feel. I don't know, it's all very interesting. Someone said the pink background is just so you in a way. I do feel like it's very me. Yes. Someone said exactly my gender is my personal religion. It's mine. No one else's. And you owe how? What do you owe people? Nothing at all. Someone says I miss my long hair. I could grow it out, but that means worse misgendering, which means worse dysphoria. Rip. I want to have a beard and long hair and be hairier and dress femininely. The choices of like, they're going to think this one thing, but I want this other thing. You're going to get there, though. I feel like everything that you're saying that you're wanting, you can have. And also, obviously, I'm not saying, like, it's fun to be misgendered or anything like that, but, like, you just correct the hell out of them. don't let them do it. You know what I mean? They're just wrong. If they think that because you have long hair, they're assuming some sort of gender that you don't identify with, that's obviously bad and can cause dysphoria, but also screw them. You guys are wrong. I am who I am. And that's on period. Someone said my hair stays, my curls are insane. I thought a lot about my hair in the context of gender. I did before I cut it. I will be honest. I thought like, man, I feel like it helps me like seem non-binary so much in a way. But then I was like, that just means I'm going to have to be extra NB once the hair goes away. And I think I've achieved that. I feel as though I have. And if not, hey, it's okay. Because like I said, everyone else is just wrong. Duh. Someone said, it reminds me of people doing weird debates on how the male Love Island cast. I didn't bring up Love Island. This person did. Of how the male Love Island cast is gay and there for money when they're just comfortable with being their gender and deny gender roles, specifically Zach. Yeah, I feel like looking at any man and just anything about the outside of him, other than, I don't know, some sort of shirt that says I am gay, and assuming he must be gay because why? He has long hair, or he smiles too much, or he spends time with his bros, or he this, that, the other. Like, it's such a... Have y'all never talked to a human being? Sometimes I worry about people who are like so quick to label you gay for doing anything. I'm like, so y'all don't know any guys that are just like soft? You've never encountered this genre of human? All this to say, I don't know why people associate gender with anything. It's not, or gender or sexuality with anything. It's not, there's no way that it can manifest and you would know for sure. It's so stupid, dog. I don't know, it's just idiotic. Someone said people assuming a guy is being feminine or soft means gay is problematic. Yeah, no, it's stupid in my opinion. But it's just also because like it's so double-sided. simultaneously femininity is seen as such a negative thing that you don't want to be, and that's something that I had to fight a lot against when I was younger, specifically when I was a teenager. I actually was really upset about the parts of me that I knew to be less masculine or whatever. Do you know why? Because I was a misogynist and I didn't know it. Oops. I think like gender affirmation is important, and a man wanting to be seen as a man is his right, obviously. But I didn't realize that much of my fear of being seen feminine in any way was actually stemming from viewing that as less than, and some polarized binary in which masculinity was the ultimate ideal and femininity was some sort of moral failure on my part. And that was a lot. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I just don't want people to think I'm a girl, really. But yeah, once I kind of realized, like, oh, what's the worst thing that would happen if I was feminine? Besides me being mistreated and not safe. But that's okay. That's not what I'm talking about here. I just mean in an objective sense. What is the worst thing that would really happen? Why would this be bad? And when I realized there was no answer to that, that wasn't like, well, misogynist, I kind of got over it. And then I was able to be myself a lot easier. Yay. Yay. Someone said, you throw like a girl, boys don't cry, etc. are all just as bad. And all of that was happening to me. I mean, you grow up a boy, and anything that you do that is bad literally is somehow tied to girlhood. You're not athletic, girl. You're not like academics, girl. We expect boys to be smart. They get the STEM, as if this industry is not run by all kinds of people, including women. You're being too emotional dysregulation, girl. It's pretty bad. Like, it's obviously bad for women, but it's also just bad for a guy to think that anything that could ever just be you being a person and deserving grace, actually you can't do this because it's feminine. It turns you into like a really awful person. Or I felt like I was a pretty awful person, but yeah, sucks. But also, like, at the end of the day, what are you gonna do? You know, like, what do you do with that information? My next step personally was, well, I turned into a letter in the alphabet mafia. Oops. The agenda got me. But if your next step as a man is just like, well, I don't know, I realize now that these things are bad, but I'm still the straight cis man, that's fine too. Just don't reinforce these things with your homies. Really. Someone says I'm trans, mask, and straight, but everyone assumes I'm gay because I shower, basically. You have a skincare routine at all? Gay. I'm sorry. Because why are you, as a man, even putting anything on your skin at all? That's sus, you know? Someone said, oops, all letters. Yeah, I was like, oh no. Uh-oh. Turns out it always has been. Someone said, Rod, the agenda gets another one. It was like clockwork, bro. I was like, okay, great. I guess we're doing this now. That's fine. Reading chat. Someone said, a trans woman friend told me trans misogyny is worse, as trans women are seen as men who deliberately chose femininity, the bad option. I mean, yes, all transphobia and misogyny is bad, but I agree. It intersects in a really specific way with trans women. Well, I think the thing about trans men is they wind up getting erased. Does anybody notice this? By the way, if you can speak to this and I'm wrong, let me know. I'm not like trans mask or trans man, but the main thing I see with trans dudes is like they just completely get erased as if they're not real, or that's mostly it. Because then when people are doing a lot of this, not that people aren't transphobic towards them, I mean that in and of itself is an act of transphobia, but like it's you know what, y'all are not slick, honestly. And then yeah, seeing transphobia as a representation of misogyny. Someone said trans mask erasure is real. Yeah, that's what I see. And of course, just being transphobic in general is a thing as well. But like, it's so stupid how you're going to get different versions of this, whether you're a trans man or a trans woman. It's all bad and should die. Please stop. Yeah, no, I hate it for sure. Someone said, what is with the men and not having hygiene thing? My dad very much cares for hygiene and grooming. It always baffled the F out of me. Yeah, no, like, me too. Like, being fresh was a thing that I had to do. It was seen as an ideal, low key, when I was a kid. Now, granted, I was, I feel like my hygiene now is pretty great. Actually, I'm really proud of that. If you catch me in the street and you meet me, I try to smell like nothing at all, or faintly like pleasing body wash and deodorant. But like, when I was a kid, I didn't really care about my hygiene at all. And maybe that's where it stems from. Because I'm going to be honest with you, boys can be pretty gross. Then again, like, I don't want to like tell on my siblings. All children are gross. I'm just going to put that out there in their own little special ways. But sometimes I think the thing with dudes is like, is it because there is this particular brand of gross associated with boys that somehow carries over into adulthood, then people think men should not care about their hygiene? I don't know. I don't know what this idea is that if you do any sort of hygiene care, you're being feminine. It's so stupid. Someone said just ill to the lack of hygiene in so many of them. I mean, it doesn't help that some or many, I don't know the right word for that, men don't or not hygienic, because you don't want to do basic things like wash your behind. But that's pretty gross. Yeah. Okay. No, the more I think about it, I'm just getting skeeved out. I do remember falling into this debate. Not debate. I wasn't arguing with anyone, but I fell into a space where people were debating like whether or not, let's just say, people are being thorough in the shower, and a lot of men were answering the thread saying, no, we're not doing that, because why would we touch ourselves there? And I was like, then what is your solution to this very human problem? And there was no solution provided. So from that perspective, I want to disappear. I hate that. Also, I feel bad giving this PSA. But I do try to do this whenever I get the chance. Something you should know, and I feel like people are gonna like jump me, or like guys are gonna get mad at me for this, but I really don't care at all. I wash my hands when I come out of the bathroom. Why? Because I find especially public restrooms to just be really disgusting environments. I used to have to clean them. I got paid to do this when I worked at a gas station. We took care of the entire building, and part of that was cleaning just awful, terrible toilets. And I don't want to get to too much TMI. I know some people may even be eating. Let's just say aim. Anyways, so I hate public restrooms, and I will always try to scrub my hands. I wish I could just take a full shower after using them. As I'm washing my hands, I do tend to notice how many of the other guys who come into the men's restroom are washing their hands or are not. Like if I was to give a number of how many people I would say are washing their hands, would I say 90% of men that I've seen? No. 80? No. 75, 70, 60, 65. If I was to say 50, maybe, but I'm not gonna lie, that feels a little high. I don't really think half of the guys I see in the men's restroom wash their hands. That's not really consistent with my experience at all. I'm just being honest. It's definitely not half of them. I don't think it's lower than maybe 33%. So if that makes you feel a little bit better, definitely at least one out of every three guys there does seem to wash his hands. But more often than not, I mostly just see dudes go in there, do whatever they have to do, and then just walk out. I worry about this because people are always like wanting to shake your hand and slap you on the back and do all these other things. And I'm just like, huh. Someone said my husband tells me this all the time. Yeah, he, as you know, is not lying. I'm not lying. Most guys that I've seen just don't wash their hands after using the restroom, no matter what they were doing. So Yikes. There maybe is a hygiene issue. But that doesn't mean just because you have hygiene, you're being feminine. Yeah, no, I thought about that the other day because it was so normalized in my mind. I didn't realize it was weird until the other day I was washing my hands and someone just walked from the urinal straight out the door. And I was thinking to myself of how common that was. And I started thinking like, I feel like most guys do that. And I really I like the food critic in Ratatouille where like his whole life comes rushing back to him. I just thought back about all the times I've been in public restroom and I'm like, yeah, y'all don't be washing your hands. So sorry. Sorry. I hate to tell you that. Sometimes I say 50-50. It depends on where I am. I can believe 50. I will never believe a man who says more than 50% of the guys he sees wash their hands in the restroom. I don't believe that. But 50, I will believe that's the highest I'm willing to go. Period. Someone said lots of women don't wash their hands. That's very disconcerting and disheartening. I don't know. I can't speak to that because I don't really enter women's restrooms, but like, dog, can we all just please do better regardless of gender? Not all. I don't need to do better. I'm doing fine. Oh my God. Nah, dude. Someone said, nah, but men who don't clean up their pee. Okay, hold on. Now we're getting really disgusting and I don't want to keep going there, but yes, it happens as well. I don't know. Why are people like this? Because they're allowed to be like this, I guess is the answer. Because it's normalized and no one ever tells them. I don't know. Why am I making excuses? I don't hate anyone. Does anybody not hate anyone, but you hate everyone? That's me. I strongly, I viscerally do not hate anybody. I believe that hatred is the root of everything wrong in this world. And I never want to be the kind of person who looks at another person and is just like, I hate you. But sometimes I hate everybody. I'm just like, wow, I genuinely hate all y'all. It's so bad. Someone said that's the vibe. It's literally, I'm just like, I'm not even like upset. This is hatred. Oh, nah. Someone said every day. It's the struggle for me every single day of like the love and understanding and acceptance I try to have and truly be a person without hate in his heart. And I'm just like, no, cut the cameras. Someone said I love people, but also hell is other people. Literally, dog. Someone said I love everyone mostly, but I don't trust them. That's fair. That's fair. Someone said I'd be standing in shock. For real, dude. For real. Oh my God. I concentrate all my hate towards one person. Guess who? But other than that, I try not to hate. Me too. I have a lot of hatred concentrated towards one person. Let's not get in trouble today. Not like the ops are ever watching me. I really don't get in trouble for the things I say on the stream. But maybe there is one person who I proudly would be okay if y'all thought I hated this person. I don't care. Because I do. And I keep waiting low key between all of the like fake reports or real reports or near misses or mystery illnesses or just the inexorable march of time. I'm just like, one of these things is going to get you. One of these things is going to get you. And I know that my mama taught me better than to rejoice when quote unquote bad things happen. But you should know that when one of these things gets this person, that's not going to be a bad thing. I will absolutely not be jinxing myself. I'm not going to be messing up my karma when I celebrate very loudly, very proudly, just very happily, pure joy. Not because I think anything's going to get fixed. I just specifically want this one person gone. I'm going to sleep very well at night. My place in heaven, I'm not going to heaven. My place in heaven is secure no matter how much I laugh at the inevitable. No one is going to make me feel bad for celebrating when eventually the person I hate the most is no longer there to receive my feelings. Someone said that's dark. Hey, it's dark, but it's just true. I am not, no one's going to stop me. I feel like that might be as close as I come to actually getting in trouble, but I'll say it on stream. I'll be like, I'm glad this happened. I wish it had happened years ago. All the times when it almost happened and it didn't, I was sad. I don't care. I don't care. I have been asked to put up with entirely too much for me to suddenly care and turn into one of those take the high road people. I'm not taking the high road, baby. It's going to be Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Me on the low road, literally doing tricks like I'm Speed Racer when that day comes. So just so you know, someone said I'm popping champagne. I am absolutely like celebrating. Like, okay, let's go. Because this is what you're supposed to do, by the way, when people like this shuffle off the mortal coil. You're supposed to celebrate. This happens a lot throughout history, and I will be partaking in the celebrations personally. Anyways, someone said I'm not going to be the bigger person. I'm not going to be the bigger person. Y'all finna need a microscope to find me. That's how much I'm not going to be the bigger person. I'm not even going to read on radar. I am going to be so small and happy about this when it eventually happens. I'm sorry, baby. Someone said, I'm sorry, Michelle, when they go low, I'm going lower. I believe generally Mrs. Obama's advice of when they go low, we go high helps in some context, but not this one. Not this one. Someone said, I know what you're talking about, but we can't say that. I can't say anything that could be interpreted as a call to violence. And I'm also literally not calling to violence. I don't care what happens or how it happens. That's not my responsibility or my job to figure out. But I just know how I'm going to react to that information. My honest reaction. That's all. So I love Michelle, but no. Yeah, no, no. No. Someone said I'm an atom compared to this. I know you're gonna be the smallest person when this happens, and I don't care. Someone said I'm going lower because they already took it to hell. As above, so below. I have that tattooed on my body. As above, so below. Not for that reason. I just think it's a cool phrase. I'll show that one off when the time comes. Oh my god. So it's like F the high road, we being petty. Y'all know we being petty. I'm sorry, dog. Skipping through a meadow. Literally skipping through an actual meadow when the time comes. And the time will come. That's the thing. There's only been one thing that I've been sure of. And it's just that, the time will come, obviously. It comes for everyone. It says that in the Bible. It says that in probably every religious text that someday the time comes and then you're good. So I'm throwing a cookout when that happens. Please invite me. I know that food finna pop. It's gonna be bussin'. I know. Anyways. Someone said I've been the bigger person for far too long and continue to be and will continue to be for as long as I have to, but it won't be forever. That's all I know. So what are your outfits going to be for that day? I'm going to wear something patriotic. Because believe it or not, I still like what this country falsely represents. I know that America is not the land of the free when it was built by the enslaved. I know that America is not the land of the free when it was stolen from people. I know all of these things to be true. But the lie that they told us does mean something. And I foolishly believe we can move closer towards it in directionally correct steps to mitigate some of this awful harm. So I'm going to be wearing something patriotic for the America that I believe can be, as long as we stop lying to ourselves about the America that is. And that'll be the only time you catch me decked out in red, white, and blue. Sorry. Other than that, I tend to stay away from those colors because I don't know, man. I don't want to represent it. Also, something that I see online a lot. Now we're getting into the weeds. When you criticize other countries and they're like for example, you're criticizing, I'm going to bring up a place that we know to be bad, Israel, obviously, the things that the government is doing, or you're criticizing like the UAE, right? You're speaking out against places like this. Sometimes I will see a comment and it's like, yeah, it's crazy how people are like wanting to like speak out against this or boycott this or whatever, but not the United States. And I'm like, who is people? You can boycott us as well. I know. Obviously, there's a lot of like geopolitical reasons for why this does or does not happen, but I absolutely consider America to be not on par, in many cases actually worse than some of the places that are commonly criticized, because we're funding, first of all, a genocide. It could not happen without us. And like, whenever I see people saying like, oh, here comes the American trying to criticize another country when America's the one that should be boycotted, I'm like, I agree. If you want to do this, please do. This country sucks as well, and we should definitely get as much crap as other places, if not more. We should get more, obviously. But yeah, I'm not one of those people who like, you know, I just turn my head away when it comes to my own country that I live in. No, you're right. All of this is bad. I really hope someday this is not happening, dog. Someone said the US is just as bad. Yeah, F the US too. I'm not giving nobody a pass when they're being horrible. Yeah, I see that a lot. The United States is just as bad, if not worse. And I'm like, yes, there's little I can do about this, but I would be happy to talk about the ways in which it is just as bad, if not worse. For real, man. Reading chat. Someone said if Russia can't compete in the Olympics or other world events, then neither should Israel or the United States, and we shouldn't be hosting the next games. I don't believe we should be there. I don't believe we should be there. I really don't. That's not going to happen though, for many reasons. Again, like I'm mentioning, just geopolitical reasons why people try not to piss off the United States. But like, I genuinely believe just turning your head away from the fact that we are intentionally funding atrocity. No, I don't. If we're not going to be, if we're going to be against this, then I think being against all of it is correct for sure. There's just little I can do about that. I don't have very much power, and I don't think that that's a popular opinion. But I've felt that pretty strongly of like, I wish I could see more context in which people are like, you're not invited either because we don't support what you're doing. Oh man, it's not good, dude. Reading chat. Someone said everyone's focused on the bigotry from the US for the World Cup, but this administration will still be in power in 2028 for the Olympics. It's going to be so bad. Yeah, that's terrible. Someone said, OMG, you're still alive. I went to the doctors and got back. Why are we all in our doctor's era? Like I said, I've been going for a couple things. I went for a checkup, vaccine booster. I got blood work done. I'm probably going to have to go again so they can talk about other stuff. But yeah, hopefully it was what's the word I want to say? I hope it was very boring and that you did not find out anything surprising during your doctor's visit. Someone said, whataboutism is just another intellectual failure. I agree. Truly, like saying like, oh, what about this? Usually my answer is like, yes, that's also true. Now, can we go back to talking about the other thing? I agree with you. I really do. Someone said one of the main reasons the atrocities of the U.S. is overlooked is purely because of its economic power, and there are many countries, if any, that can impose that. Yes. Yeah, that's my current understanding as somebody who is not very economically, like, world economics literate, but I seem to understand that, like, it's not even just beneficial to work with the U.S., but also, like, I don't want to say places need to do that, but I see why they're doing it. It's unfortunate. Someone said, is there a formal term for whataboutism? Probably. Someone who knows more about logic and rhetorical debates could answer that, probably. Someone said, and we shouldn't be making decisions over other sovereign nations that are just trying to exist. Well, that's a very unpopular opinion. I do believe that many people who live here believe America has as much right to meddle as it wants to. But I strongly agree that like nothing really gives us the right to do that. No sort of like, I don't know, military power or economic might is a reason for why we should be destabilizing other countries and funding genocide and doing all these other things. I guess I know why we do this, but like, why? It's so bad. Someone said false equivalency. False equivalency sounds like whataboutism. That's probably maybe correct. I mean, I think, yeah, in most cases. Then again, sometimes a whataboutism is an accurate equivalency. It's just not relevant to the conversation at hand in any way. Someone said Tiffany Ferg has a video on whataboutism. Tiffany, she an OG. Listen to me. It's very rare. You all know it's rare that I will actually hype somebody up on YouTube, because people be on this platform and they be the worst people ever. Or I will hype someone up and then they'll turn out like, oh, we had a racism controversy. Oh, this person has gone downhill for whatever reason. Tiffany Ferg is the one, dog. She has literally been making commentary videos, good commentary videos on like internet trends, video essay type stuff about so many interesting things, ranging from like really broad topics to micro niche type stuff. I ain't never watched a bad Tiffany Ferg video. And if you like my content, but maybe you're looking for more structure, you definitely would probably like every single video that Tiffany Ferg has uploaded. So shout that out. I'm talking years ago. We were like popping off at the same time, and it was a good time for commentary. There was a lot of channels that were doing really cool things, I feel. And she's definitely one of them. Someone says, and Tiffany gets to subscribe so I can check out later. Yes. Okay, great. That's one cosign I'm happy to make. It's not going to bite me in the butt. I don't think so. Reading chat. Someone says it could be an actual defined term. I was just asking to find a Spanish translation. Oh, I definitely couldn't tell you the Spanish translation. Someone said, I remember Tiffany. Yeah, those were good. Someone said Tiffany kind of bullied an environmental creator. Maybe that did happen. I don't know. All I can say is what I knew from the time period where I was following. Someone said, what's her channel name? It's just Tiffany and then FERG. Someone says, I'm enjoying watching the logic / debaters debate what a straw man is and isn't in the chat. Now you guys can accuse each other of whataboutisms as you figure out the right term for what a whataboutism is. Okay, that was hard to say, but I actually said it correctly. Reading chat. Whew. But yeah, this was a good one. I went into this stream very like, not worried. No, I was. Why am I downplaying it? I went into the stream worried as hell. I felt like I was gonna like put my I try not to say the phrase "put my foot in my mouth" because I feel like low key. I don't know if that's a common phrase, and I feel like people are gonna act weird if I say that. Is that a weird phrase to y'all? If I say like, "Oh, I put my foot in my mouth," are y'all gonna act like I'm being weird, or you're gonna make it weird when it's not weird? I don't know sometimes if the things I'm saying are common phrases or if they're like southernisms. We say that here in the South all the time. You really put your foot in your mouth with that one. And I don't know if people say that in other places. Okay, good. People are saying it's normal. Thank God. I'm glad it's not just a regional thing that just sounds super weird from the outside. Every time I almost say it, I'm just like, oh, people are so weird about like feet nowadays for some reason. So yeah, I'm going to start saying it. I thought I was going to put my foot in my mouth when it came to this discussion, but I think it's gone well the whole time. I've been enjoying myself. Someone says, I didn't think it was weird, but now you're making me think you're into that. I hate that this is coming up for like a second or third time. Honestly, I will say this again. I am a foot defender. Not the actual fetish itself. I don't really care. Fetishes don't really work on me at all. I just mean feet in general. I feel sad about them as an artist. I had to learn I had to look at a lot of foot pictures actually, mostly just pulled from intentional reference photos so you could learn anatomy. Because when you're drawing, you kind of want to have an idea of how forms go together, even if you don't have a reference in front of you. So I had a very, what I felt to be normal conception of what a foot is, which is just a body part. It's not weird. There's nothing sexual about it. And it's just, I don't know, especially too, like, depending on where you are, just not wearing shoes or socks is just the normal thing to do. And watching feet turn into this debate of like everyone gets so weird. Like, God forbid, like I'm wearing socks right now, and I wear socks on every stream, I think. But God forbid I was to like stand up or the camera moves and then you see that I wasn't wearing socks or something and everybody's gonna freak out. And I'm like, dude, it's not less weird than you seeing my hands. Truly. What is less weird about that? Yeah, no, I shudder to think about the way people are about feet on the internet, and that's why I'm proactive as a creator. You're never going to see mine. I'm hopefully never going to say anything that leads y'all to believe that I'm weird about it, because everybody else is wrong, not me. Not me. Someone said feet aren't nasty, but feet aren't pretty either. They're just a body part. Yeah, I feel like they're just feet. I can't think of anything less interesting. I also feel like if you're like younger, you may not believe me when I say this, but there was a time when no one ever mentioned other people's feet. I'm telling you, this is true. Like, there used to just be album covers of people with the dogs out, as they say, or I don't know, just like photos in which people in the comfort of their own home weren't wearing shoes, and like you were never going to get weird comments about feet for some reason. But I've watched everybody just get less and less normal. I've literally talked about this before on stream. I'm bringing it back up because it came back up. I've watched everyone get less and less normal about this, and I'm like, someone said, I miss that. I miss that too. It was a healthier time, frankly, when we weren't fixating on individual body parts of people and commenting on them. So yeah, please, no, can we shift back to what normal stands on this? It's so weird. Someone said there are worse fetishes other than foot fetishes. I don't get the pearl clutching. Well, okay, you also get the fact that for me personally, I don't want to get too far into it, but like, I don't see any of this as weird at all, because even if you do actually have this or whatever, that's also a normal thing for people who do. So I don't know, if we were less weird about each individual part of this, I think we would be more normal about every part of it, but instead it's all just weird. Sad. Someone said Nickelodeon. Well, okay, you do also have like bad actors like Dan Schneider making feet a weird thing on purpose, and I feel like, you know, on some level he could definitely be blamed for this, right? If I'm trying to think back about when did things start getting really weird, when did people start becoming hyper aware of the existence of feet being tied to some sort of like fetishistic or sexual thing, I do feel like it's Dan Snyder's fault. For real. Hold on a second. I've never put this theory together, because why would I have ever spent more than 2 minutes thinking about this? But absolute like dirtbag from my understanding. This guy is gross, right? I don't remember what exactly, or I mean, it was a bunch of really nasty and awful things that this guy was doing. But as part of being behind, I believe, Nickelodeon, if I remember correctly, he was doing a bunch of gross stuff with the actors and their feet, because I guess he was into it and was like normalizing. Dude, it's really gross actually thinking about that. So I feel like that happening didn't help at all. And then people are mentioning Quentin Tarantino. I agree, dude, it's so gratuitous. I know people make the joke about him and stuff, but you see it and you're just like, what? So it's less that feet are weird, and maybe that a few individual people have made it weird on a level that has wigged everyone out. And now no one will ever be normal about this again. So that's terrible. Boo! Boo Quentin Tarantino. Boo Dan Schneider. Oh no. Someone said we were kids being fed that media, even unconsciously. We saw on screen constantly putting food in our face. It made us self aware of them and in turn grossed out, grouping on a large scale. I completely agree with you. That seems like a valid lens through which to view this. So if you're wondering, which I wasn't wondering too strongly, I swear. Oh man, that's messed up, dog. Someone said I went to 2 minute. I went out. I clicked off for 2 minutes and went to Dan Snyder. Okay, sorry. That's enough Dan Snyder talk because truly there are some people who are so gross I don't want to think about them at all. He would certainly be one of them. Someone said Dan ruined my childhood. Yes, he ruined a lot of people's childhoods. It's always the worst people who wind up with the most influence. Maybe not me saying that as an influencer is crazy. Nobody pull this clip later in the future. But anyways, it's always the worst people who wind up with the most influence. So said the Nickelodeon logo was literally a foot at one point. It literally was. I remember that. I do. Oh God, why? Someone said, why the bazillion tabs? Wait, what? You mean you don't usually have tabs open about Dan Snyder and me talking about TikTok and my OneDrive and whatever this is and Indy Navarrete and Brad Pitt and Brie Larson and Hudson Williams and hate crime meaning and all this stuff? This is how it goes all the time, chat. This is a normal day on my computer, if I'm being quite honest with you. And usually when I get to a point where I have too many tabs, I just close them by default, the whole thing. Click. Someone said, why does Tarantino love using the N-word so much in his movies? His bad movies, you said. Yeah, that don't ask me my thoughts on Tarantino, because they're going to piss off film fans really bad, but... side eye for days, that man, for sure. Someone said, how is your computer not crashing? Because I have two computers. I stream from this computer that you're getting this picture from, and the computer that you see all of my pictures from is a different one. Because I know that I have too many tabs open. Someone said, I forgot we started with Hudson. Bro, I be going all over the world in my streams all the time. Okay, I'm reading chat while drinking water. Suppose I have a film degree and you're right. Thank you. Me too. Well, kind of. Mass comm, concentration, digital film, TV production. I know I'm right. You know I'm right. Don't let them tell us otherwise. Someone said that would be a good video. It would be a fun video. Kill Bill was one of my favorite movies too, but now I know what certain scenes before it ruined it for me. Yeah, I think the thing is too, like, one thing I strongly believe, I don't think it's actually problematic to acknowledge that problematic people can make good things. I actually think it's better. This might sound crazy. Let me explain this thought in its entirety. I actually think it's better to say, for example, I got to take somebody who is like known to be bad. There's no question about it. R. Kelly, horrible human being, terrible individual. But I think you should point out that he did make music that resonated with people. You should normalize the fact, actually, that oftentimes people who are awful will create things that are good, and that in a vacuum don't appear to be tied to their badness, because it's used as a tool to not believe people when you say that that they've done bad things, and you're like thinking in your head, oh, but they've done so much good music and stuff. Yeah, if we were more normal about the fact that people who make good music can also be awful people, I think we would be less hesitant to believe people who come forward about this. People are bringing up Kanye. I would agree with Kanye as well. Like, oh, whoa. I would agree that Kanye is a relevant example to bring up as well. The phrase I would agree with Kanye as well is not indicative of any of my views. I think I'm going to stop streaming forever. What I was trying to say was I agree that Kanye is in the same boat where despicable person who there's no reason to defend, and instead of acting like we can't square away that somebody who is so bad could have made Graduation, You should just acknowledge that somebody can make what is to you really good music and be a bad person. I think we would move closer into less stupid conversations. So, gosh. But what can I say? What can I say? Someone said clip this. Absolutely, positively, do not clip anything I just said about Kanye. I would never agree with that man. I wouldn't be caught dead agreeing with that man on anything. No, thank you. Someone said, you're gonna get in trouble. I think we all know at this point, I pretty much probably don't agree with anything he has to say. Someone said, good skill check. I'm always trying to listen to myself as I speak. It helps a lot. Someone said, you're very articulate, but over-explain often. Thank you. I am neurodivergent. That's an excuse. But I can't help myself. I truly can't. Reading chat. Someone said, I think you should repeat yourself. I know I personally wasn't listening. I am not going to repeat myself because it seems like there's too much of a landmine for how to word that improperly. So just take my word for it. Someone said, why do you over-explain even if you're so articulate? Because I don't know how to think about things in a normal way. And by normal, I mean typical. That does not involve a lot of circular thinking and trying to unpack it from multiple angles. Often when you catch me trying it from here and then from here and then from here, that's actually me attempting to understand what I'm even saying, because life is crazy when you're crazy. Oh my God. Someone said it's safe to assume that most artists are bad people. Assigning moral integrity to artists for making good art is foolish. I agree. Yeah, I strongly agree. Someone said, I love how you reiterate your words for better clarity. I see no harm in it. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it makes me a good streamer, low-key, because it makes my stuff like accessible, and it's really easy to cut it out. And I always cut out of my videos too, where I'm just clear and succinct. I do think sometimes when people join the streams and they're like, whoa, it took him 90 minutes to say this. It can be a little jarring, but I love the split between like how I talk about things and how I'm able to cut it down. I'm lucky that it actually works. Someone said, considering the lack of nuance on the internet, over-explaining is needed. I would rather say the same thing 3 different ways than just leave it open to interpretation. Because it's finna be interpreted incorrectly. It will be. There's no question about it at all. Someone said thoughts on Olivia Rodrigo's new music. So I heard her song, the first single. Oh my God, I'm not trying to play stupid. I'm not remembering the name of it. Feminine Intuition. Drop Dead. Sorry, that took me so long to remember. It's literally because there's just so much music that's happening. I listened to Drop Dead. I think I remember saying it was a good song. And that like. I wasn't like wowed or anything, but she always makes good music. Then after that, I listened to The Cure, and I thought that was pretty great. Excuse me. I really liked The Cure. And then I heard like a ballad, I think, that I don't remember what that one was called, and I didn't super love it. I'll be real with you. Just truthful. As good of an artist as Olivia Rodrigo is, good of a songwriter, good of a performer, I get a lot more out of her non-ballads than I do her ballads. And so I do think it's more so a me like not really going crazy over ballads type thing, where I don't really love a lot of her ballads very much, but a lot of times when she's doing things that are more upbeat, she does tend to get me on board pretty easily. So I'm excited to listen to the album and hear like what new upbeat songs are there. And I'm sure the ballads will obviously still be moving and well written and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been trying, chat. I tried with Sour. I tried with Guts to just be like a ballads kind of guy, but I'm now being honest and truthful with myself. I just prefer more, more. Even though she writes good music no matter what she's doing. That's just my opinion. Someone said thoughts on Bridget Mendler's leaked EP. I didn't listen to it. But hopefully when she's actually ready to like drop, everyone's just as excited. That's all I have to say. Someone said ballads aren't for everyone. They're not, yeah. I do I like any ballads low key? No, not really. Not really. I like ballads when they have really, really weird or unconventional instrumentation. Like when what's that Billie Eilish song where she's like crying ink? When the party's over, is that a song? I like that song because it barely has any instruments in it. And it's very like slow and haunting and creepy. But then if you just give me like a more standard ballad with like piano or guitar, I'm probably not going to get like super hype over it. But yeah, if you can like slightly deconstruct a ballad into something that is off, I'm going to love it. I'm going to rock out for real. Someone said "When the Party's Over" is the right song. Yeah, that song is great, and it is literally a ballad, but it's a weird one. give me weird ballads all day, please. Someone says, "What are your thoughts on the no phones on concerts?" Oh, we talked about that. I think if not last time, the time before. And obviously, like if you need your phone, you should have access to it. But we should all stop recording at concerts, and we should normalize concert DVDs or recordings that people can watch after the fact. So yeah, I don't have like super strong thoughts about this, but like Phoebe Bridgers creating a no phones environment, I think is great. And people saying like, oh, well, some people need their phones. You can still have your phone. Obviously, just stop recording, please. Please. Someone said, do you mess with Joji? Joji has some good tracks. I feel like the weird thing is though, I've never really like rocked with a Joji album in its entirety. Because they're really long. I mean, he has like some shorter projects, but like Nectar, for example, is a really long album, and his most recent album, Piss in the Wind, is like, it's lengthy, and I don't like love every song, but I feel like Joji tracks, when the vibe is right, are great. It's very much like vibe music, and he has some good sad songs for sure. Someone said, what's an example of a ballad? Chat, how do I describe the difference between a ballad and a non-ballad? Crap, I don't know how to describe the difference. I think typically when I think ballads, they're not usually like percussion focused, and they're a little bit slower, and the instrumentals are usually a bit stripped back, and they're typically about more introspective topics. So like, for example, Die with a Smile by Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga would be a ballad, but like Paparazzi, is that a song? By Lady Gaga would not be a ballad, is how I would describe that. Someone said, is Adele ballads? Adele almost exclusively releases ballads. Hello is a ballad. Go Easy on Me is a ballad. She usually makes ballads. Sometimes she has really fun songs that are not, like Send My Love to Your New Lover. That one's a little more upbeat. It is a little more focused on like the percussion and some of the other things that are happening, but Adele is in her bag when it's just her and like a piano. Really? Someone said ballads are the 2 or 3 boring songs on the Gaga album. I mean, I just can't help myself. I find the other ones more interesting. I think people get a lot out of ballads, though. They can be very emotional, and so I'm glad that people put them on their albums. But catch me streaming the more interesting ones. More interesting to me, obviously. Someone said, do you like Cameron Winter? I really don't have too much of an opinion on Geese or the singer from Geese, who I believe Cameron Winter is. Maybe I've heard like the song. Do they have a song like Taxes off of their album Getting Killed? I probably have heard that one, but I don't think I'm super familiar with like his solo music. Someone said, off topic, but are you interested in any more piercings? It's a great look for you. Thank you. And currently I'm actually happy. Maybe I will do upper ear piercings at some point. But that point is not now. I'm kind of chilling with the piercings that I've got. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Someone says the lyrics are and an artist's voice are my favorite parts of songs, so I love a ballad. That makes sense, because I will strongly agree that like ballads are the best format for your voice to come through, like your vocals. And it's easier to focus on the lyrics when the music isn't doing like crazy things. Someone says Celine Dion makes such banger ballads. True. And thinking about like the greats like Celine Dion, Whitney Houston, that is making me realize, though, I always do reach a point of hypocrisy. A Whitney ballad though. A Whitney ballad though. I have nothing, nothing, nothing if I don't have you. Which I believe that song is courtesy of Dolly Parton, if I'm not mistaken. That was Dolly's amazing songwriting. The greatest love of all is happening to me. Anything that Whitney Houston sings that is a ballad, I pretty much love as much as more upbeat songs, like I Want to Dance with Somebody or Shoop Shoop Shoop. I don't remember what song that is. So maybe there are some artists where their ballads equally work on me. I swear to God, there's nothing like a Whitney Houston ballad. Someone said, we don't deserve Dolly. Bro, she's such a good songwriter. Sometimes I get like in a parasocial way where this doesn't really matter, but sometimes I'm like, we are also focused on Dolly Parton's amazing, like humanitarian work, as we should be. But I'm like, but I'm not gonna let y'all forget she wrote the hell out of them songs. She is a great songwriter. Dolly Parton is one of the greatest songwriters of all time. If you got Bob Dylan on the list somewhere, if you got, I don't know, the Beatles on the list somewhere, you got Taylor Swift on the list somewhere, y'all need to have Dolly Parton on that list. I swear to God, Dolly Parton's songwriting was just crazy as hell, dude. It's so good. Someone say it's not right, but it's okay. Yes. Glee has tainted it slightly for me, but in the sense that I don't just enjoy it now, I chuckle a bit. I never have heard the Glee version. That's pretty funny. Reading chat. Dolly's a cool human through and through. She certainly seems to try to be that, and I appreciate that. It's more than some people do. Someone said her songs with Miley are hands down some of my favorite songs of all time. Understandable. For real, for real. Someone says Total Eclipse of the Heart, a ballad. Total Eclipse of the Heart is one of the greatest ballads of all time. Turn around. Dude, I swear to God, that's such a good song. Once upon a time, I was falling in love, but now I'm only falling apart. I don't know what to do. A Total Eclipse of the Heart. And is that Bonnie Tyler, I believe, sings that song. Bro, she sings the absolute hell out of that song. Everything just from like the structure of it, just the drama of the turnarounds, going into her like impassioned verse delivery, and then it just kicks up. I need you now tonight. I need you more than ever. Oh my God, that is such a good song. I swear to God, that's one of the greatest pop songs of all time. And also, if somebody don't like pop music, which is fine to not like that, play that song for them. Be like, it's okay to not like pop music. But when you say that, do you also like dislike Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush? Do you dislike Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler? Like, pop music is so vast, dog. Do y'all hate like Hyper Ballad by Bjork, or do you just not like top 40 radio pop? Because I would agree that's not my favorite either. Man. Someone said Ryan Murphy must pay for what he did to some of the most iconic songs of all time. Ryan Murphy must pay for a lot of things. That man holds nothing sacred. He has ruined so many things, dog. Pisses me off so bad. Someone said it's in my freaking head. Let's go. Someone said Bonnie Tyler, not gonna lie, I was introduced to her through Shrek 2. Okay, but the music was banging in that film. If you found great music through Shrek 2, then you found great music through Shrek 2. And that's on period. Someone said, do you prefer instrumental music using real instruments or electronic music? Oh, so like acoustic instruments, music versus electronic. Personally, I prefer electronic music, but I strongly like my ultimate is electronic music with elements of acoustic instrumentation, or acoustic instrumentation with strong elements of electronic additions. So like a mostly acoustic song, but then one that has like some synth work happening in it, like Baba O'Reilly. Oh man, that's it for me. That's it for me. That's really the one. Reading chat. Someone said Ryan Murphy made me run in the opposite direction of Journey, and now I listen to Journey all the time. Shout out Journey. What do they, is that We're Halfway There, Living on a Prayer? I think that's them. Someone said the video for Cloud Bursting rules. Bro, Kate Bush's music videos, they're so good, man. They're so good. Someone said, my best friend passed away in 2020, and one of the last house parties I remember going to with them, I have a video of them singing Total Eclipse of the Heart with one of our other pals. That's sweet that you still have that video. Of course, I'm sorry to hear that they passed away, but that sounds like a lovely memory, actually. Someone said the mix of both literally sounds like an out of body experience. Yes. Somebody mentioned Lindsay Strings. Are you thinking like Lindsay Sterling? Dude, oh my God. I used to... Can I be for real right now? I used to be obsessed with Lindsay Sterling. Does anybody know who this is? Probably not most of you. Do y'all remember dubstep? Dubstep comes in many forms, but I'm specifically referring to like the type era dubstep, like very Skrillex, very that. There was this musician. She still makes music from what I understand. Lindsay Sterling, a violinist who was like, you know what I'm going to do, dog? I am going to take my violin skills and I'm going to put that over sick, nasty dubstep drops. And so she was also really good at performing too. She would like do her violin while dubstep is happening in the background, and she'd be like dancing in like an ice palace or dancing in the forest in some sort of cosplay. This sounds crazy as I describe it. It doesn't sound real, but I swear to God, Lindsay had shooters and I was one of them. I was absolutely a Lindsay Sterling ride or die when I was a teenager. I literally forgot about this era. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, she made violins cool and dubstep cool. Shout out Lindsay Sterling. Someone said she's kind of a bad person, apparently. I believe you. Or I don't know. I'm sure you're right. I just... Finding this out about every single person who I have like mildly good memories about, I tried to steel myself for it. I don't really know much about her. I think I haven't thought too much about Lindsay Sterling in almost a decade, but dog. I saw her in concert. She's absolutely incredible. Yeah, she was good at what she did. I can't speak to the specifics beyond that because I wasn't one of those like people who knew anything about her other than what she chose to offer. It's this one right here. I saw this album cover so many times, and do you know where I saw this? Pandora. Wait, not the jewelry. Pandora. I used to use a streaming service. This is literally, I'm pretty sure before Spotify existed, called Pandora, where depending on your plan, I don't think you could actually select the songs that played. You could select a song. So I would be like, okay, I want to listen to Shatter Me by Lindsay Sterling. And you can create a station based around that one song where sometimes it would play Shatter Me, but then maybe it would play I Can't Stop by Flux Pavilion. Maybe it will play like Shave It Up by Zed. And it was such an experience of like playing the Pandora roulette and trying to get it to play songs that you wanted to hear. If you wanted the song to play more often, you would give it a thumbs up. If you didn't want to hear the song again, you would give it a thumbs down and the song would never play. And you would try to curate your Pandora stations into like RNG, spawning your favorite tracks. And my Pandora stations were tight. You hear me? I put blood, sweat, and tears so many hours into my Pandora stations to where they only played my favorite songs all the time. Someone said Pandora was all the rage in college. I loved Pandora. Someone said that's how I found Nicole Dollanganger. That's a good artist. I really like Lemonade's a pretty great song by her. And I liked her last album, actually. It was pretty. It was sad and weird, but that's pretty much her whole gig, yeah. So I had myself locked in. Dog, I was a Pandora champion. You hear me? You feel me? I was killing it on Pandora. Someone said Pandora was such trash but so nostalgic. Yeah, it was bad. It wasn't a nice user experience, but I used and experienced the hell out of it. For real. Someone said Imagine Dragons era. Someone said you can do all that on Spotify too. You can, but the thing is you can also do almost anything on Spotify. Whereas on Pandora, I didn't even have a choice. Maybe we could have paid to have better options, but I don't even remember that plan being a thing. Someone said I found SZA on Pandora in 2013. Yo, early adopter, let's go. So we talk about Pandora. Yes, we are. This was such a good era to like find your own musical style and tastes, and probably the way I consume music now and the things I like are still shaped by songs that would randomly play on Pandora. I'd be like, wait, this is good. It's so funny. Someone say he's like 26. I'm 27. I'll be 28 in 2 months, which is crazy. Someone said Pandora was a great name for it because you never knew what you were going to get. It was a very apt name for sure. Someone says Spotify has become unusable. Yeah, I mean I hate Spotify for other reasons too. Just their gross, weird CEO turning around and putting Spotify money into like AI drone technology for the military is like, okay, cool. That's definitely what I wanted to be supporting. All those years I paid for Spotify out of my own pocket as a literal broke college student. Sure, great. And someone said I thought you were 23 or 25. I mean, 28 is not that much older to me. I mean, it probably is if maybe you're younger than 23, but I don't know. 20s is just one age, dude. But yeah, I'm proudly almost 28. I can't wait to be 30 something. I just want to be like Jenna Marbles, man, a 32-year-old lady for real. That's it. I have like how many more years? 4 until I can finally say I'm just a 32-year-old lady. Someone said, D'Angelo, I have your April Fool's track downloaded on my media player forever. That makes me happy. I'm glad that people had fun with that one because I had a lot of fun with that one. Someone said, do you use Apple Music now? I've talked about this before, but honestly, since I'm already here on YouTube, I've found YouTube Music to be fine. They have everything I want to listen to, so whatever. I'm already paying for premium. I may as well use it, I guess. Someone said, I'm 25 and you're like 30. Yeah, I think it's like when you're 25 and people who are 30 are like, oh, damn, they're 30. But then the closer you get to 30, you're just like, but I'm still 25. Or at least that's been my experience. Someone said there's something checking in. Yeah, no, the differences between ages are just shrinking. I more so think you get key ages that matter, or key age ranges. Like 20 through 22 kind of matters a lot. And I also think a certain late 20s age range kind of matters that I feel like I'm in the middle of right now, but there's also so little meaningful distinction. It's hilarious. Reading chat. Someone said I'm always so late. Oh no. Yeah, you missed a lot, but you missed a really good discussion. I honestly thought we did great. Like low key, if I was grading papers, everybody would get an A mostly. I don't really think I saw much like nonsense. I mean, I don't think I really do usually, but it was a hard discussion and I think everybody tried really hard to understand me, and I don't know, it was great. I liked it. Yay, we passed. Let's go. Reading. Someone said after the pandemic I stayed the same age. I feel that way mentally sometimes, but then like physically I feel so old, so then I'm like, oh, never mind, nobody with that knee issue is in his early 20s. And then I'm like, oh no. Someone said you don't mentally leave your 20s, the body is what reminds you. That's exactly what I was saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't feel like I'm in my early 20s when I stand up sometimes, or when I can't deal with the same things that I used to effortlessly be able to deal with. But what can you do? Someone said I turned 19 this year and I'm being treated like I turned 80. Yeah, I mean, okay, younger people, and I was the same way, do have a really bad habit of like treating young ages as if they're impossibly old. I know that when I was like a child, I thought 20 was old. Literally when I was 14, I was like, ew, you're in your 20s? Skill issue. And then when I was 20, I thought 30 was old. I was ageist. It was bad. I was like, I hated, honestly, like older people. Not because they were older. I just felt like I would feel this really intense frustration as a very young person. Like when I was 20 and people would be what I deemed to be much older than me, and they wouldn't understand. Or I felt like they weren't understanding. Like, why are you like making these mistakes or getting these things wrong? I didn't understand how little difference there was between our ages. And now that I'm 27, making a slew of mistakes every day, I'm like, oh my God, why was I ever holding anybody my age to this crazy standard? You should be old enough to know better, but like you're still going to mess everything up. You're in your 20s. So now that I'm 27, I don't view like 30 as old at all. And I'm sure it'll just continue and continue and continue. I think the thing is, like, you can literally be like 35 and then still live your entire life again. All 35 years that you experience, you can be like, no, I want to do over it, and then live a second life. And then you might even go further if that works out that way for you. Someone said not having kids keeps you hella young. I don't know. That depends, because there are some parents that have crazy energy. And I think it's like a vampire situation where I'm just like, my body would be shutting down in their scenario, but they're like, oh yeah, I took my kids here and we did this and we did that. And I'm like, in a day? In 24 hours? How? Someone said no kids forever. Probably no kids forever, unless like something happens or changes. But plans for no kids forever is how I feel. I've said this before, but maybe the universe moves in a way in which I'm somehow responsible. But it certainly would not be because I wanted that to happen. And in that case, I would do my best. I'm not even talking about me like having a child. I mean, like, I don't know. Someone's like, D'Angelo, you're the only person who can care for this person. And I'm just like, uh-oh, what will I do? I would figure it out in that context, but I would have to be the last man left on this planet. And the only person available. And then maybe I would try to not be a bad parent, but other than that, I have no plans. Someone said the thought of doing more than one thing a day is exhausting just thinking about. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good personally. Anyways, chat, I've had a lot of fun. We've been live for 3 hours and 49 minutes. Usually we go to 4, but actually I started late, so I'm ending right here. This has been really nice. I don't know. I feel like every time I hop on here, my faith in question mark is restored. Not humanity. That's never going to be restored. But maybe my faith in being able to have fun discussions online. I mean, even if sometimes they're not fun and they're actually really hard, they can be a little difficult, a little dicey, but I think it went well. Thank you for another fantastic week on YouTube. I look forward to seeing you all again on Tuesday. Probably, hopefully before then, I'm able to turn this video into, or this stream into a video. So you get content, then more streams, and let's just do it all again next week. Someone said, did you ever talk about Hudson Williams? We talked about that for 90 minutes. And if you missed it and you don't want to watch me ramble and get lost, you can wait until Monday's video. Anyways, bye everybody. I appreciate you guys. Some stuff within your community or something, but then that makes me sound like a cult leader, like I'm Jared Leto. So, but I feel you. Bye.